G'day everybody and welcome to the House of Mario South Australian Nintendo podcast that is backed by a 120 Power Star rating. I'm your host Drew Agnew and the doors to episode 300 are open. Today on the show we're going to be doing a full retrospective on the Nintendo Switch to celebrate the 8 years of the console right after the announcement of Switch 2. It's real, so what a perfect time to line up just a look at this amazing console and just how it lines up with the anniversary of the show too. It all just fits in nicely. It's almost like we planned it. Didn't really plan it. Not at all. And of course, to talk all about this is my good friend and co-host Josh, or JT if you like. Josh, how you going, dude?
Hello, Drew. Hello, everyone. Congratulations to you and to the show for 300 episodes. That pretty amazing achievement, and not a lot of podcasts get to episode 300. And we're going to celebrate. We're going to have a really fun time tonight celebrating the Switch in what's been a pretty golden era, I reckon, for Nintendo and gaming in general. So we've got a list. We're going to rank all the years. We're going to talk about our favorite games. We're going to have a great time. We've got some listener feedback and comments celebrating 300, so it's going to be great. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I cannot wait to get into it. It's been just a great run, a great console, all of that. And looking back sort of when we're putting the notes together, there's a lot of great games there, and a lot of that's just first party as well. When you get into indies and third party games, that list just goes on and on and on as well, which
it really does.
Which is crazy. It's become like one of the best libraries of all consoles. It really is, and that's even considering like the Switch for the most part, like AAA games. It doesn't really get them, and it's doing that without that, which is just a tremendous feat.
Yeah, it honestly is. Like maybe started a little slow with third party support, but the moment it really sort of got those sales kicked in, the third parties, the big ones especially, really came on board. And I just, you look back at it and, even last year, which was a pretty quiet year, they had some great games still and some really constant releases. We've never been spoilt for choice like this before. And I play a lot of the pure Nintendo stuff, but yeah, you're right. The indies and the third-party stuff like really came on board for this generation, whereas they haven't in other previous Nintendo generations, and that's really made it the overall probably best Nintendo system ever, I reckon, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to really think about it, but I don't think I'd have to think about it that hard either. I think it's definitely my favorite Nintendo system. All of the systems have their charm, including the Wii U, including... I don't know, I was trying to think of another not loved Nintendo system, but the Wii U is kind of a...
GameCube?
kind of it. I don't know. I don't know, the GameCube, especially like all these years later, it's got that sort of view where it's like, oh, the GameCube is great, but just nobody had it. But at the time, I didn't have a GameCube at the time, but it would have been a very similar feeling looking at your friends with PS2s, just playing the latest and greatest, whether it's GTA or...
That was me.
Yeah. It's just
I had Mario Party 5 and Pokemon XD. I was a happy kid. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. I was the kid that wanted the GameCube, and I just played all my friends' PS2s. I wanted the GameCube, but like I always say, that video game retailer worker just fucked me over. I'm going to be honest. He said that...
Fuck you, man. Like what a fucking idiot they were. The PS was amazing.
You should hunt him down. Games. Not literally hunt him, but just track him down and then be like, mate,
still playing games.
I could have had a nice GameCube collection that was worth maybe $300. You know?
You do now, though.
I do have a GameCube.
You have your GameCube collection, don't worry.
No, I've got not many games. I've got more GameCubes than games.
Really?
I've got 3 GameCubes.
What are your GameCube games?
What have I got? I've got Pokemon Coliseum, Mario Sunshine, Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Yep. Double Dash?
No. It might just be those 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Animal Crossing, Luigi's Mansion. You will never need the Metroids.
I might have Luigi's Mansion.
Wind Waker?
No, I don't have Wind Waker.
Okay.
Actually, I do have those Japanese GameCube games I picked up from the Adelaide Toy
yes,
Fair.
you do. Yes.
So I guess I can count this. So I technically have Wind Waker. I technically have Double Dash.
Yeah.
I bought those in Japanese. Yeah. Anyway.
Cool covers. Anyway.
We're not doing a retrospective on the GameCube.
No.
Let's talk about the Nintendo Switch, Josh. I want to go back to even 2016. I want to get in the headspace you were in as a Nintendo fan, as somebody who was looking forward to Switch. Were you following rumors? Were you excited about the the upcoming system? Where were you in 2016, early 2017, as the Switch was being rumored, announced, and eventually released?
Yeah. So I was playing my Wii U regularly. I got into the Wii U sphere 2014, so I wasn't launch.
That's the perfect year to get into it. That's when it really kicked ass. Yeah.
Mario Kart 8 brought me in because I played it at a convention. Like, oh, this is awesome. I'll buy a Wii U for this. So I did all that, and then did Smash Bros. And Mario Kart, and then I did Super Mario 3D World. So I did all the big stuff. Pikmin 3. I got a free game when I bought the console. So so I got into then, and then it started to wane a bit, and then 2015 was pretty, there was a few cool things like Splatoon and Super Mario Maker. Like, oh, yep. So I was like getting really interested in it. 2016 happens, and then we had to wait for Star Fox Zero, and I really wanted Star Fox Zero to be good, and I really wanted to like it. And I told myself I liked it, and then I go back to play it now, and it's just not what it needed to be, but that's fine. At least it was Star Fox Guard as an add-in bonus that made it a little bit better. But 2016, we knew that the Wii U was done, and I think personally I was just ready for the next thing. And then the Switch gets announced, and I don't know, I wasn't super excited for it at first. I initially at first with the reveal, but then as time grew on, I bought one opening weekend. I thought, I'm gonna I really want to get a Switch. I bought Breath of the Wild on Wii U, and then I'm like, hang on, I think I want to play this on Switch instead. So I returned my Wii U version of Breath of the Wild, and then I bought a Switch, which came with bundled with Breath of the Wild on the Switch, and for like $519 or something. So it was like Zelda was like a $50 extra game on top of the console price. I was pretty happy with that. And just went from there. So I was wanting Nintendo. I remember the big years of the Wii, and like how massive Nintendo could get. I was ready for more games, more support, because I kind of knew that there wasn't a lot going on for the Wii U. So then we need the next thing in, and I just kind of fell in love with my Switch ever since. The day one, it was like, oh, actually, this is pretty awesome. So I loved it.
Yeah. Were you much of a portable fan before the Switch, or did that sort of help you get into the more portable game? Because I know you use your Switch a lot docked.
Yeah, I've always been I've always considered myself more of a console Nintendo gamer. And if I do the handheld stuff, I hate saying this, but it was predominantly Pokemon, and not too much else outside of that. Like I remember getting Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks and playing those slightly, and then any Mario games I'd get on the handhelds, and so it was kind of exclusively Pokemon and Mario games, really. So the handheld part of it was that's fine, that's cool. Is it docked though? To me, it was is it still a console? That was my first and most important thought, and so the fact that it was okay, that's fine. I hope it's still powerful enough. I hope you can see a bit of a difference between the Wii U and the Switch. Hopefully there's some more frequent games coming out.
It wouldn't take much to get some more frequent games on the Wii U, and looking
Correct.
back at the past 8 years, we certainly got a much better cadence, and that was because of just the whole thing of knocking down the pillar of that console and the handheld and putting them together. It was definitely a very important thing for Nintendo to do, even if it wasn't popular. It's just for their production. I don't think any sort of publishers or any hardware makers can really support two devices. I think that's obvious just from whether it's PlayStation or Nintendo. They've got to pick your lane a little bit, and with Nintendo picking their lane and PlayStation picking their lane, you're seeing how successful they are just putting their focus onto one device.
Yeah, there's so much efficiencies gained from it, isn't there? And then Nintendo's kind of, found this weird, cool niche, and it's created a whole sub-genre of gaming, hasn't it? This PC handheld gaming kind of class. And so, yeah, Nintendo pioneered it as they very much do with a lot of gaming things, and yeah, leading the charge now still with the Switch 2 coming out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, there's been plenty over the last few years, but my lead up to Switch, I was Wii U day one, so I had plenty of time throughout the years to daydream, think about, research, talk to people, what they
Yep.
would like, and all of this.
Yes.
And I think everybody was just, especially with the Wii U, we all appreciated the gamepad. It's clunky, all of this, but it was really cool to swap games to the gamepad. And I think having those types of resolutions and graphics on a handheld device, even though you were limited to the same room, was really cool. So everybody was just like, can I just take this out the house? I think that was like the main thing people wanted. And the idea of having a handheld that you can take with you and dock on the TV was really appealing to me, especially because like if you're playing like a JRPG or something, you don't want to be like mucking around with save files and all this, even if you're allowed to transfer them. Like with PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4, there was some cross-buy titles and you could do your save file and all that, and that's cool, but a little bit cumbersome, and you've got to make sure your save file's in the right place when you leave the house and all this.
Yeah.
So the idea of like this handheld that could be a console was super appealing. And Iwata, in 2015, I think it was, announced that Nintendo's working on a next generation console called the NX, and from there, that's all anybody could talk about until eventually the Switch was revealed late in 2016, and obviously eventually came out in 2017. But it was a massive lead up, and it was really exciting to sort of follow it the whole way along. And I'm glad that it was worth it, because it could have easily been just like another Wii U and petered out. And the conversations at the time were extremely dire. And that was just the reality of the situation, where if the Switch wasn't a big hit, Nintendo would have been forced to be a third-party publisher. There's no denying that. Nintendo was not in the conversation whatsoever in the console market. Nobody cared about it. That's evident in the sales for the Wii U, like 13 million. Just absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. It was purely riding off of its hardcore, dedicated fans that would pay $430 Australian for a console that really doesn't have many games, isn't that appealing, in many ways is worse than an Xbox 360. There's just there was a lot of things going against it, and it ultimately was like stuff like Mario Kart 8, Smash Brothers for Wii U, and like a bunch of like Mario and Zelda and all of that stuff that sort of helped it along the way. But yeah, it was important that the Switch hit, and I couldn't have myself and many others, and especially Nintendo themselves, they couldn't have dreamed that it would have hit the way it hit. It's just like a phenomenon. Yeah. The best-selling console of all time, just sailing past the Wii U, which also past the Wii even, which was
by a lot,
Yeah.
And it's past its will pass the DS, and it's about to pass the PlayStation 2. It's even with the 160, in a year from now when we get the end of 2025 results, it should be pretty close if it hasn't beaten the PlayStation by then at 160. So that'd be a very cool day when it gets to that.
What are you going to do when it beats the PS2? Have a little PS2 beat party, just like
or a little
few balloons.
Yeah, yep. I'll burn a PS2 or buy one at Cash Converters and destroy it.
Yeah,
something like that.
Such
the
Nintendo
console wars reignite that. I don't
such
know.
Nintendo
we won.
fanboys.
We got him.
Yeah, it's like we got him.
We got him.
So do you guys hate PlayStation?
Suck on that, Jim Ryan. When you
Jim Ryan, you're
5
retired.
million.
You retired bastard.
Fucker. Yeah.
Yeah, you Sony people. No. I know that it might not be obvious to some people online. They take this very seriously. We are joking. We do love PlayStation. We all have
I'm not joking.
PS5s. You're not? You're fair enough.
I'm joking.
I'm not joking. I have very bad memories associated with that plastic box and circuit board.
I'm PlayStation over Xbox.
Yeah. Just
I don't hate Xbox either. I just have a PlayStation.
We're sticking ourselves a hole with the Twitter fanboys out there. But yeah, it was a massive lead up to Switch, and I want to get your sort of feelings on the presentation early January 2017. We got a blowout. It was a live event in Japan. Nintendo held it. And for me, I remember having such a whiplash event. It brought up a lot of fear. It showed like a lot of repeat sort of mistakes from the Wii U generation, and that was a lot to do with just how they presented it. Very awkward. So the presentation itself was very awkward. Then they had stuff like 1-2 switch, and I like 1-2 switch. I'll talk more about that later. But showing that was like not what we were after when it comes to like them showing us what the system can do and all of that. And there was even more sort of weird, awkward moments. Like there was
the Splatoon guy.
Yeah, Splatoon. He wasn't too bad, but a representative from EA showed up, and you could just tell he was so jet lagged, and he was up there just like half dead, saying, "Look, I love Nintendo." I remember him saying, "Like, I named my son Luigi, you know." So yeah, I love Nintendo. It means the world to me. He literally had like maybe the same tone as that. I remember thinking, God. And not only that, it was a big lie because like those EA games, like they came for like a year.
That was it.
I think it got one FIFA until they just made it the Legacy edition or whatever, where it was just like the same one, just with a new roster. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
That was it. And
that was it.
Barely did anything after that.
Yeah, they only started.
My Sims.
Yeah, they did like they just started very recently, and when they changed from the FIFA name, they changed to was it Football Club, EA Sports Football Club. They started doing like football actual versions for the Switch then, but yeah, for a long time. So that stuck in my mind, just like as far as EA went. I'm like, yeah. So this was like your third party support, and it was not looking good. But it was that Zelda trailer at the very end, Breath of the Wild, where I've never seen a trailer that was more hype, more emotional, more just that sold me on a system and a game more in my whole life. And I only went back to it the other day, and it still gives me chills. It actually gives me goosebumps, like physical goosebumps on my arms. I'm like, oh my God. Just an amazing trailer. So honestly, that saved it. That saved the whole presentation for me. It just like wiped my mind. It was like the Matrix kind of thing, just like just waves it away. I'm like, thank God for that. And man, it was it really was amazing, and it sort of set up the Switch for the rest of the guess the rest of the year. I remember being in my lounge room, and Bryce and he came over to watch it on the big TV, and I stood up. I was like, oh my God. Like when it finished, like we were just on the edge of our seat. It was amazing. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you thought of the event, and especially obviously the Breath of the Wild trailer as well.
Yeah, that trailer is amazing, and that's probably one of the most iconic gaming trailers you'll ever see. And I'm with you. Like you get the feels every time you watch and listen to it. Yeah, the presentation was weird, and I don't know. It was, sort of like, I can see why now they do a direct, the same thing, just to explain it. I feel it's just less awkward the way they'll like communicate the information through a direct now, instead of a in-person presentation like they did, because it was kind of pseudo direct, pseudo wasn't. This like got me excited for the Switch. I remember because like, okay, there's a whole bunch of games coming this year. That's really good. Stuff's coming. Like 1-2 Switch never interested me. I've never played that game. I never wanted to play that game. But like they did some stuff on ARMS, and I was really interested in ARMS after that. I thought, okay, that's cool. That's a new Nintendo IP. That's in June. And then Splatoon. They did the stuff on Splatoon 2. And I originally thought, okay, maybe I'll get a Switch in July for Splatoon 2, because I thought I really want to play that day one. And I thought maybe I'll just get Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. That was my initial thought. But then, yeah, like I said, when it came to March, I just decided to just buy a Switch straight away. I thought, why not? I'm going to do it in July. There's probably not going to be a price cut by then.
I'm just curious. You said you picked up a Switch, like you didn't pre-order. How easy was it to find a Switch?
I went to a store and picked one up straight away. There was no issues. Yeah, I remember people saying it was, they had enough stock and it wasn't a drama. I remember like it sold decently at the start, but not like amazingly well or anything like that. And I feel it was a little bit like a quarter or so later, like especially that Christmas period where it really started to ramp up and
Yeah, I remember
get
there
crazy.
being more copies of Breath of the Wild sold than Switches. Because I don't know whether in the States or other countries or
Yeah.
other parts of Australia, I don't know what the situation was, but it seems like the Switch was in high demand and people were buying Zelda and just for when they can finally get a Switch.
Okay.
It was really interesting at the time
Yeah.
how the game was outselling the system, which is just crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, that never happens usually. So
Yeah.
yeah, and um, the rest was history. Just you could tell they had abandoned the Wii U and they'd saved stuff for this new console. And like, okay, that's okay, good. At least they've decided to switch it and go all in on something new. There's a little bit of like what's happening now with the Switch one, but they planned it better because they've still got games for the Switch. They've held off the big IP to Switch 2, but they still had stuff to release in the meantime. So yeah, similar but done better recently.
Yeah. Well, I would love to talk about launch day, March 3rd. It was a really exciting day. On the lead up to this, I was watching every YouTube unboxing, so every influencer or whoever got a Switch early. I might have watched them all. I watched every single variation of somebody taking this goddamn thing out of a box. I was so excited for it. That's all I could think about was this goddamn thing. And it obviously helps that like a brand new Zelda game that I've been waiting for, it's been delayed 2 years, since 2015 when it was originally meant to come out. Like the excitement, for both of them at the same time was just palpable. All I wanted to do was just play this thing. So when the time come, went down to my local EB, went down with Bryce, picked it up. We got pictures of our Switches in the back seat with the seatbelt across them. Did the whole thing. We took them back to his place and we literally popped the bottle of champagne. We've got we've got a video of us and I'm recording it on a laptop with the laptop mic and the pop of the champagne. Like I just like popped the cork and just went poof, hit the roof and like bounced back down
That's
onto
so
us.
funny.
And like the pop of the cork just sounds so
That's satisfying.
It sounds awful because it's just through like a laptop microphone.
Oh, okay.
which looking back on it, it just makes it even funnier.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a great time. We just played Zelda together. One of us on the TV, one of us handheld, and just being able to put the Joy-Cons on and feel them. And I bought 1-2 Switch and we were playing that, and we had a lot of fun with 1-2 Switch as well.
Okay,
and
cool.
yeah, we just a really fun launch day. And it's been a long time since a system launch was that fun. Mainly because the other two systems that came out since the PlayStation 5 and Xbox, they came out during COVID. So I literally went and picked them up and that was it. And it was at a time of year where it was a lot busier for me as well. So I just kind of picked them up and updated them, and that was kind
Couldn't really
of
have
those
friends over, not allowed. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Couldn't really do anything. So yeah, the Switch was just completely different. And what was really cool about it is like that functionality of actually being able to take it around. We used it a lot during the early days, taking it to the pub, using it in the kitchen to show my mum 1-2 Switch and having a lot of fun with that. And just really showed off the versatility of the system, which was a lot of fun. I don't do that anymore, and I kind of miss that magic. I don't know whether that's just me. The Switch it's been in our lives for so long now. You just maybe just treat it like a gaming device, like any other. But don't know. Maybe I should rekindle that magic with my Nintendo Switch. Get my everybody 1-2 Switch out. Do Ring Around the Rosie or some shit, whatever games are on it.
Hey man, if you want to ruin an afternoon, go ahead.
Ruin an afternoon. Look, I played it one night. Everybody 1-2 Switch, the latest iteration of the game.
Yes.
Yes. And it was me just basically like, hey guys, do you want to play this? When I had like 5 people over, like, oh, I guess so. It was very reluctant.
Yes.
And we got a few smiles.
Yes. Yep.
All right, let's get into 2017. So we discussed, obviously before the launch and the launch, but let's talk about the games that came out this year. So the games were 1-2 Switch, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Pokken Tournament, Super Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, Snipper Clips, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and obviously The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. We'll see if I'm missing any first-party titles from there, but I mean, a very strong first year. It's gone down as one of like the best years in gaming. It is for me. Even like outside of Nintendo, PlayStation were doing a fantastic job as well, and a bunch of third parties. So everybody was just sort of firing on all cylinders, and Nintendo and a brand new system at the time certainly elevated it as well. Because like before the Switch came out, I was playing Gravity Rush 2 on PlayStation 4, and that was like a dream sequel I never thought I would get. So that alone was just amazing. And then to follow it up with everything Nintendo offered as well, that was awesome. So yeah, Breath of the Wild. Let's talk about Breath of the Wild. I've said it before, but I think this is Nintendo's most important game they've ever released. Going back to the point of the Wii U, where if their next system failed, it was very much a situation where Nintendo would be probably third party. They would have had to really shake up their business because if the Switch wasn't going to sell, it's pretty obvious that people weren't interested in their devices. But I think Breath of the Wild was the game that really showed people that it's a handheld, but what I'm seeing is an open world massive game that looks like what I was playing on the other Nintendo system that was locked to the TV. And I think that was really important. Obviously, the fact that the game was just a masterpiece as well definitely helps just spread the word. All of the reviews, everything, people just learnt about it over time. And all the years following up to Tears of the Kingdom, this was just an evergreen game that always sold with a Switch. So, yeah, the most important game on the Switch, in my opinion, is Breath of the Wild. From the very start, it's what really shown what the Switch is capable of and what you can expect from it and why you should be excited about it, as well as just saving Nintendo. This is the game that saved Nintendo in my eyes. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
I totally agree. I think probably the biggest game in the 21st century. I don't know if you think of Super Mario Bros. Is the one that really kick-started, Nintendo as a company in the 80s, a console game company, one to sort of, confirm that, console games can be good and quality. This is, on the opposite of that, keeping Nintendo in business, in 2017. And totally, 100% agree. Like, this game had to be big, and it was, and it just delivered a really fun open world experience that Nintendo fans had never experienced before. And with that meant that a whole new generation subset of gamers got to experience that for the first time, which is absolutely unreal. And like you go from playing a 3DS, which looked quite limited even when you buy it day one, to what the Switch is. That's a massive jump in terms of technical output, and like going from Wii U to Switch is not much of a jump, but it was the handheld side definitely that was the appeal. A lot of people really love playing handheld. I might not be one of them as much, but this appealing aspect of you can just take this anywhere and play it and enjoy it. And Breath of the Wild was a perfect game to sort of showcase that, because it was a really quality, fun game. Lots to do in it. And for Legend of Zelda, took that series in a whole different new direction that, I think is really hard for them to revert back to something 3D Zelda anyway, doing anything but now the open world aspect. And so huge one, sold like hotcakes. It was the reason for me to buy the Switch instead of waiting later on. I thought, no, I want to play this on the actual Switch, and did not regret it the moment I did that.
Yeah, and just I think the biggest sort of criticism the game gets is just the fact that it doesn't have like a linear story. There's nothing really being told to you. But I think over the years, sort of looking into it, I think Breath of the Wild has a really awesome story, and I always loved how the game told its story through just the environment. I remember coming across like just this graveyard of guardians. You're like, like what's going on here? And then as you progress through, you get a memory and you see what happened in that area. That's basically where the war started and all of that. And I really loved how that story was told, and going to a later game, Age of Calamity from Koei Tecmo. I think how that sort of shed more light on the story as well was really cool. So yeah, no, Breath of the
Definitely.
Wild, just tremendous game. One of the best Nintendo games of all time. One of the best in the Legend of Zelda series, and yeah, absolutely awesome.
Unreal.
What game would you like to go to next, Josh?
The other one for 2017 for me is Super Mario Odyssey.
Of course.
We saw the teased of this early in 2017 as well. I love 3D Mario. No, Super Mario Galaxy was, I think, the most excited I've ever been for a game. And we got the sequel in Galaxy 2. I never felt 3D World was the next proper 3D install of that, and I've come to really appreciate the game when it came out on Switch. But yeah, this was like it felt like a long time coming, Super Mario Odyssey, and I just love how absolutely wacky that game is. This game is just like takes the Mario formula and just sort of really twists it around, and Mario's doing all sorts of different weird things in New Donk City, interacting with humans. The way he moves around, some of the worlds that get created are so cool and funky. I just love this game so much, and it's really held the test of time. Had it a chance to stand on its own for a while now, 8 years or so. Desperately need that sequel or the new entry in the 3D Mario, but this one's just been an unreal experience and captures that nostalgic element as well. Lots of sort of nods to the past with the 2D moments, the 2D sort of sections in the game, the purple coins. This was a bit of a collectathon, but I loved every second of doing it. I
Was a
just
bit.
loved getting all the moons, man. I 100% of this game, and I had so much pleasure in doing it. So I freaking love this game, and this is my favorite game of 2017. So it made it for me this year because of that.
Awesome. This is a complicated game for me. I really liked it, but when I finished it, I didn't know how I felt about it compared to Mario 64, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, like, the top of the Mario games for me. I was like, where does it fit in there? I didn't really know. I was like, is it as good as those games? So it's one of those games I literally have to go back and I've got to like go back and re-experience it to really sort of cement in my mind where I'd rank it, how I feel about it. But like those moments towards the end of that game were just jaw dropping, like what they were doing.
Yeah, the ending.
I
Yes,
loved it. And
it's
the
great.
post game, once you roll credits, I've never had a moment in a video game where I see something off in the distance. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm just flooded with love, nostalgia, excitement. And all I
Yeah.
wanted to do was run through that door and see what was
We can
inside,
say
see
it,
what's
can't
going
we?
on.
It's been 8 years.
Yeah, so spoilers for the end of Mario
castle.
Odyssey. The castle, the mushroom kingdom. We went back to the mushroom kingdom. You can
So good.
explore
That was great.
the courtyard in the castle, everything around it. I was like, oh my God, we're here! Like I was so happy and excited, and I don't think I've
That was a
had a
good
moment
moment.
like that on Switch. Honestly, like since I was just like, this is wow. Like I was just pure nostalgia going back there, and I just did not expect it. That was just such a big surprise. So we do have like a top 5 favorite games on Nintendo Switch. For me, this is my number 5 on that list, Mario Odyssey. And it was on. I honestly had it between this and Mario Wonder. I almost put Mario Wonder for those reasons that I'd discussed before. But yeah, those ending moments and obviously the rest of the game is phenomenal as well. So yeah, it's definitely on my top 5. But I know you've got it pretty high as well, Josh.
I think it's my number one game.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, big sucker for 3D Mario, but this one just had the orchestral music, Jump Up Superstar. Like when you get to the moon, just like all of it is just absolute sort of psychedelic madness, this game. And it's just pure amazing platforming to the T. And yeah, I just love it for that reason. So I think it's my number one Switch game.
Well, I think it's worthy, Josh. I think it's worthy to be
Thank you
there.
very much.
It's not like you said, I don't know, one of those hentai games. You're like, that was really good. I like that one. One of those just trash games on the eShop.
Yeah, correct. Never seen me play one of those. Don't worry.
Yeah. All right, let's dive into a couple of other games just quickly. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I was very happy to see this game come to Switch early. Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U was one of my favorite games on that system, top 2 at least. So seeing it come to Switch with a few more bells and whistles, you could have 2 items at once. You couldn't do that on Wii U. It was just the one item.
No,
and
battle mode.
So just that alone kind of just completely changed the how you play that game, because you could have an item like backed up, you could use it to defend and all that. It actually completely changed it. Just that one simple thing. And obviously we got DLC and everything the years to come. So yeah, Mario Kart 8, one of my favorite games. Where is it on my list? I think it is on my top 5. It's my number 3 on my top.
Wow.
I love Mario Kart, dude. Love Mario Kart. And this is the best Mario Kart. So
it is the best one. I remember being slightly disappointed at first hearing this, because this is, I don't think I've ever been disappointed for a port since. And so this is obviously the first one from the Wii U. I just was like, but I bought that already. And like, yeah, why can't we get a new one? But then, obviously, yeah, like they had those changes. And then I think the battle mode for me was like, okay, cool. We're getting new stuff. So it wasn't like it was completely the same. And then, yeah, since then they've had the DLC, and it's a phenomenal game and just absolutely unreal, and definitely deserves all the sales and success it's had. But I'm ready for the new one, because I think it can really get into the online live service kind of stuff a bit more, and the next one can be even better. But this was it made so much sense to have it straight away. At least Nintendo knew that, and that was one of the best things they did was pretty much a month and a bit after launch, because it came out in late April, I believe. And it's just been their most popular game ever since, really. Just sold like absolute hotcakes.
Yeah, worked out well for them. And it was a good game, so I'm glad to see it finally get those sales on a system that someone actually wanted. But Splatoon 2, I played a decent amount of Splatoon 2. That's probably the Splatoon game I got into the most. Loved the multiplayer. Had a lot of fun with it, playing in bed at night, and that was when the Switch was like obviously a few months in. It was still such a novelty to be playing something like that on a handheld.
Yeah.
Really cool. And Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I know you've played that. I have not played it, apart from like the tutorial at the start.
Yes, I didn't play this in 2017. I played this in 22, I'm pretty sure. I wish I was big into Xenoblade back then, but it wasn't until Definitive Edition of the first game came out in 2020 that I became a fan. But this would have been, a really solid, like for me, playing that at that time of year, that would have been really exciting. And while it's my least favorite Xenoblade for a few reasons, it's still a very good time, and definitely worth playing if you really, especially if you love the first one and want to get more.
Yeah. So 2017, really great start, and I think especially after the Wii U, it's like, wow, this is something this year. Wow.
Yep, they set it up for this.
You've got to take into account too, like the actual system, and I guess you lose like a couple of months as well since it came out in March. So just really solid starting. Also this year, I've got just Moby Games put up with other Switch games that came out this year. So just for an idea of what came out, we got Stardew Valley, Minecraft, Rocket League, Skyrim, Shovel Knight, Axiom Verge, Cave Story Plus, SteamWorld Dig 2, which was a massive game around launch, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Sonic Mania, Shovel Knight, Pure Tetris, which I actually really enjoyed, that version of Tetris, Rayman Legends, Into the Gungeon, Severed, just many more. We got a big flood of indie games, and that was what was a lot of fun as well. It was a perfect place to play indies, and a lot of indies were finding really good success because their eShop was not flooded. Like every week, there was like 1 or 2 games coming out, so people were just hungry to play games because it was either Zelda or something on the eShop, pretty much. It was a good place to be for a couple of years to be an indie. Right now, definitely. It's a little bit competitive now.
Correct. A lot going on.
That time is gone. So yes, we're going to be ranking these years as they go. So number 1, we'll go to 2017 to start off with, since there's no competition just yet. All right, Josh. 2018. We've got Kirby Star Allies, Mario Tennis Aces, Nintendo Labo, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Super Mario Party, Splatoon 2, the Octo expansion, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torn of the Golden Country, and Bayonetta 2. So that's our first party lineup for the second year of Nintendo Switch. I mean, I've got the game I certainly want to talk about. Anything you'd like to jump in before that?
Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. That were really fun. I think we were expecting, at that stage, it's a different kind of game, a remake of the Gen 4 Sinnoh region maybe at that stage, and that came obviously a few years later. But they were, a bit more of a simplified, Pokemon Go-like experience, but I really enjoyed playing the original Kanto region in this game. That's probably my highlight game of the year. I don't know, we'll talk about Smash Bros. Obviously, but I differ slightly different to you.
Yeah, I was so excited for Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. First Pokemon game on the Switch, and we're just sort of waiting for, Game Freak to make a console game. It's the very first console game that, they've made. They're bringing Pokemon to the big screen. And this was a version of Pokemon Red and Blue, or Yellow, that is basically remade with Pokemon Go mechanics to bring in those casuals from their mobile phones onto the Switch. And, while it was basic, I kind of liked it for being basic. It was just about catching, collecting, how they brought a bunch of different mechanics to getting chains for catching a certain amount of Pokemon, and that ups your shiny chance and ups your sort of stats and all that come with that Pokemon. It added a real fun mechanic, just going and catching as many Pokemon as possible and keeping that chain to find shinies that just appear in the overworld.
Do you use the controller a lot? The one-handed ball? Pokeball?
Yeah, I used the Pokeball Go Plus,
Yes.
but I did play this game mainly handheld, purely because the controls were just so much better in handheld mode. You just use the gyro to aim or the stick, really easy. But on the TV, when you're just flicking the Joy-Con, a little bit, I don't know how you be accurate with it. I remember Bryce playing on the TV, just catching Zapdos with the Pokeball Go Plus. I'm like, man, I have not mastered the art of the wrist flick like you have, son.
No.
But I loved it. I put 90 hours into Let's Go Pikachu, shiny hunting and doing the whole Pokedex. And
yep, I wanted a sequel and we never got it. It's been over 6 years now and nothing.
Yeah, I think it's one of those games where you don't really need a sequel. It's a game that's designed for Pokemon Go players to onboard them and bring them into Switch. But it's one of the, I don't feel like we need this to be a series. That was my personal opinion. I love these games. I'll be happy to go back and play them today. I had a lot of fun
so much that I kind of wanted them to do one more and do that region. Yeah, and that would have been just absolutely I would have been happy after that. That's enough.
Yeah, no, I 100% get it, and I could imagine a Johto version, a Hoenn version, and they keep on going. I love the aesthetic. It's the best looking Pokemon game, just from the fact that it's pretty basic. It's just a 3D version of the Game Boy game, so they're able to put more into the graphics. But yeah, I really love these games. I kind of like that they're just unique and stand on their own, and that they aren't they're not outdated already because the sequel came out and the mechanics are different and all of that.
No, that's right.
So yeah, it was a nice spot to sort of land with Pokemon and sort of interact with Pokemon Go and all that. So I really liked it. What else we got here? Didn't talk about the Wii U ports. So the Wii U ports, we've got Tropical Freeze, we've got Captain Toad, and we've got Sushi Striker. That's not a Wii U port, but do you remember Sushi Striker, Josh?
I didn't play this one, no.
I played it on 3DS actually, because the 3DS version came out at the same time, and the stylus, the controls were it just made more sense on the stylus.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I actually played it a little bit there.
Yep.
But yeah, it was the first place I played Captain Toad, Treasure Tracker, missed it on the Wii U. And yeah, just that's a fantastic game. Little puzzle game going around as Toad. You can't jump or anything, but it's about just getting to the goal. You've got to move throughout the level through different platforms and things. It was a lot of fun.
This year was me experiencing the games I didn't get to experience on Wii U. And so, yeah, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker was really cool. Had never played it on the Wii U, so playing that one was like, yeah, I wish I played it on the Wii U, but I never did. And the other one was Tropical Freeze, and I really love that game. That's like not my top 5, but it's probably 6th or 7th, just how good that game is. And that really made me love the Donkey Kong Country series. That's a phenomenal 2D platformer, and I think it's my favorite 2D platformer. I really love that game, just how natural the platforming is. It's still a really great challenge. You got the Kong letters to collect with the puzzle pieces. It holds its own place. I love the minecart and the barrel skyrocketing levels. Just the whole variety of it just means it comes together in a really, really great package. So, I love that game.
Yeah, and it's just like an absolute stunning game as well. Like it looks beautiful on Wii U, it looks beautiful on Switch.
Yeah.
They added funky mode on the
Yes.
Switch version, which I actually used because I played through it like one night. So just my newborn son, I was basically on night shift that night. So I put funky mode on and I played through the game pretty much in the one sitting, just on funky mode because my reflexes weren't quite good enough.
No, but you still wanted to play.
Yeah, so I still wanted to play. You wanted to have fun while I was tending to my screaming little baby and letting my wife have a bit of a sleep at the time.
Nice.
So that's my memories of Tropical Freeze.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice.
I didn't get Kirby Star Allies. This is probably one of the first party Nintendo games I actually skipped out on. I remember it coming out early in the year. I'm like, no thanks.
I wish I skipped it because I bought it and played it and like, this is not good. I did about 5 hours and probably too many really. Didn't finish it in the end. I didn't want to. It just didn't do it for me. I felt like it wasn't enough there. So I don't know. I feel a little bit like this was like a bit of a hit and miss year because you got Kirby, Mario Tennis Aces. I really wanted to like that. It just fell a little bit off for me in terms of like not having enough there to really beef it up. And then I didn't touch the Labo stuff, but I know a lot of people loved it and used it a little, but ongoing, it's a bit of a proof of concept testing thing.
Yeah, I bought Labo. I think I felt pressured to buy it, just because the House of Mario, the podcast, was relatively young at the time. I'm like, I've got to cover it. I've got to cover everything.
Yes.
So I bought one, and I folded one thing. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing this. Like, I got no interest to fold up these bits of cardboard, not even a little bit.
So you didn't even finish it.
So I folded like one little contraption where you put the Joy-Cons on the side and you make it vibrate and you can sort of steer it around. I mean, it's cool. Like, it's fantastic for kids, but it's also very expensive and cardboard will get ripped very easily.
Doesn't last long and get damaged. Yeah, that's right.
Because it's like Lego prices,
Yeah, that's right.
So it's like, I like the idea, but it kind of needs to be like $20, if you know what I mean. Like, it needs to be like something you buy again and again, rather than just like, here's the kit, look after it. By the way, it's cardboard. Like, it's
correct.
It's not the most thought through thing, but it was also something that I think we looked towards and said Nintendo's still got that weird energy because they've been making like a lot of games, which was like the traditional Mario, brand new Zelda, like all these games. But it's like, here's this wacky thing only Nintendo can do. And whether it's for core gamers or, it's a good idea in general, at least it's an idea that's wacky and something that you can't go and get on a PlayStation 4. It's a bit different.
Correct. Yeah, that was their unique experience, and they follow it up with Labo VR the next year, don't they?
That's right. They did the VR too. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, let's get to Smash Brothers. This is what we want to talk about. Josh, going into the Switch. We already knew that we're getting Mario Kart, Zelda, Mario. We got the big boys. We got the big boys straight away. But going into the next year, I was like, all right, where's my baby? Where's Super Smash Brothers? Because if the Wii U did anything right, it was Super Smash Brothers for Wii U. That game was awesome. I loved it so much. I would have bought 2 Wii U's, 3 Wii U's, 5 Wii U's, and just had that one game. I don't care. How I accessed that game, I would have been happy no matter what. I love Super Smash Brothers, and at this time as well, I was pretty much in the phase, like, Super Smash Brothers brawling for Wii U. That was like the time of my life where plenty of friends around, come over, playing it all the time, being competitive with Bryce, and the idea of having that in your pocket was very tempting. So early 2018, we had a Nintendo Direct, and I'm going to dob myself in because at the time we're driving to Adelaide. Chantel was asleep in the passenger seat. I remember we're on a big straight road, just coming out of town, and I had the phone mounted. I had it coming through the stereo, so I was sort of listening to it for the most part. Then, of course, at the end of the direct, I say we got one more thing. I'm like, all right. So, had a bit of a look over. It was Splatoon, the Ink Kids splatting each other, doing their thing, and they're doing their thing, and then they stop. The light goes, it goes dark, a big flame sort of erupts. They turn around, and the Smash logo appears in their pupil, and I literally went, Smash! Like, I just yelled it out loud, and I woke up Chantel in the car. She's like, what? I'm like, I don't know what I said at the time. I was like, I don't know whether I explained myself, or I'm like, oh, no, nothing. But
nothing. It's all good.
So excited for this game. Like, this was one of the most hyped games I've ever sort of experienced going into. And that E3, when they're going through all the characters and eventually gets to Solid Snake, and they say everyone is here. Every character from the history of Super Smash Brothers is in this game. Just what an amazing feat. We got a write in from Meta who just wants to talk about this moment. They say, never in my life have I experienced anything quite like Smash Ultimate. Every single new fighter being revealed from the initial Everybody Is Here trailer just saw or felt like an event. Definitely my favorite Switch experience ever. And I got to feel the same. Like, even the years on with the DLC, every character reveal was just massive. And this was a game at PAX Australia where Bryce and I, we actually got a press badge or a media badge or whatever it was. And we got to go to the Nintendo booth and play this game early. And there's a few games where you go and play them early. Like, yeah, I played it. Like, we played Pokemon Sword and Shield that year, for example. It's like, you play Pokemon, you get a feel of, doing the menus and having a battle. It's not that important.
Yeah,
the Super Smash Brothers, like, we went in and we analyzed that game. Like, I played as Mario, and I could see every difference in animation and attack and everything. Like, we went in there, we played as Ridley, who was a brand new character as well, who was announced at that E3 later that year. And it was great to finally get hands on that game before it actually come out, just to see what it's all about. Because I think for a lot of people, and rightfully so, it looks like the Wii U game, but a lot of characters have been redone, reanimated, just completely different attacks or whatever have you. It was a really special game, and just to have all of those characters there, as well as the World of Light, that single player mode. I really liked that single player mode. It was just nice to go in and do level by level and different challenges as you go along. 100% that get all the spirits which are brand new collectibles in that game that replace trophies. And I think it's a perfect game, maybe apart from the fact that those 3D models, those trophies weren't in the game anymore. And there were a fair few modes from the Wii U version that I really enjoyed doing, stuff like the trophy hunt mode, where like score attack and all this, that just weren't in Smash Ultimate, which ultimately I kind of felt disappointed in, as well as the stage creator was nuded in Smash Ultimate as well. I remember like in the Wii U game, we did a map where it was just four platforms at the bottom, and then we put special mode on, and we put everybody had a jetpack, so the whole thing was just like Dragon Ball Z. We're just jetpacking around trying to hit each other. And there was basically no bottom on the stage. And we couldn't do that on Smash Ultimate. It wouldn't let you do like the special smash on a custom stage, like stuff like that, which sucked. It kind of didn't let you do a couple of things we really enjoyed in Smash for Wii U. But apart from that, the characters, the stages, the single player. It was all fantastic, and definitely one of my favorite games of all time. One of the best in the series. And yeah, for me, the game, wherever I put it on my list, it's my second favorite Switch game.
Yeah, very high up.
So
Very high up.
very high up. Absolutely love the game. But yeah, what's your experience with Smash Ultimate?
Yeah, I remember being very excited for this when it came out, and I think I really love Sakurai, just how he just pumped up this game, and just I really appreciated how open and honest he was allowed to be talking to this game, because I don't feel any other Nintendo franchise really gets that, and he's able to really sort of like talk about the challenges, and whenever there was a new character that came after the game through DLC, he's just talking about like the challenges that came to like for this to happen, or just like this character's got some unique things and this made this scenario an issue, but we solved it this way. And so like I really thought we got really great in-depth knowledge on how these games get made and completed. But this was great. I bought all the Smash Bros. Games on all the consoles, so I just don't have the 3DS one. But really loved the one on the Wii U. I remember thinking hadn't been that long since the last game, so I thought, no, that's fine. I'm still gonna enjoy it. And then having all the characters back was great. That was like, so we're gonna get all of them back. The thing that annoyed me though is that not all the stages came back. We got I think most of them, but like poker floats. Like I really love poker floats. Like I want poker floats in the new one, and I don't know if we ever got a reason why not all the stages came back, or I know because they introduced it's 8 players. Was this the first time they had 8 players in Smash Bros, or did the Wii U have that?
Yeah, the Wii U game had 8 players.
Had 8 players. Okay, so I mean they could have then. I know Poker Floats wasn't in the Wii U version, but
so maybe GameCube, wasn't it? Poker Floats. That was
so.
Melee. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Great music, Poker Floats.
Yeah, it's so good, so good. So I think I'm comparing it to Melee, and I think that's my favorite one because I love the trophies in that. I love seeing
you're a
them all
wave
there.
dasher. That's why.
That's right. And then
hardcore.
I just loved I know home run contest got added later, but I just like when the game came out on Melee on the GameCube, just had all this stuff together, and I think that's my favorite core Smash Bros. Experience. I'm not very good at these games, so I think that's the other thing is whenever I verse people, I'm okay-ish, but not great. And so, whereas I feel like I'm a much better Mario Kart racer, Smash Bros. I think I enjoyed the celebratory of gaming that happened through this game series with other third-party characters coming in. That was my way to learn a bit more about Castlevania when that came out. Like Fatal Fury. I didn't really know anything about that, and that kind of sparked my interest. Then Sora from Kingdom Hearts. All these things. Even Snake, Metal Gear Solid. Just it was so cool. Like this series was like such a great way for me to experience other series. Earthbound and Mother. Just like I really don't think I would be as interested or had that piqued interest to play those games or want to know more about them because I was playing as Lucas and Ness on these games throughout the years, and that was their way of staying relevant, really. And I go back and read those Melee trophy descriptions of Pooh, and I don't laugh as much anymore now because I know who the character is, and it's very cool. So I love the fanfare around these games. But Ultimate just doesn't quite for me. Like it's not the old. I don't regard as the ultimate one. I think I liked more aspects of other games better, like the single player campaign, things like that. I just don't think it does it as well as like Subspace Emissary and so forth. Yeah,
I mean there are definitely some aspects on that side of things that could be improved. Definitely, like even the spirits, because the spirits to me just scream, and like I think Sakurai literally admitted this. It's kind of just like you got so much dev time. Don't have time for the trophies, for the 3D models, but we can put these JPEGs in pretty easily with no descriptions. And, I guess it filled the gap, but you can see that it was like a dev saving time. And ultimately that comes from just them focusing on the characters, which again, they admitted, which was probably a good place to focus on, in all honesty. That's what people care about. Brand new characters is what drives the hype and excitement for these games. So fair enough.
Yeah, that's right. You can't have it all. And had to deliver it by a certain time, I'm sure. And we got so much stuff since then. And yeah, like I said, they added like the home run contest later, all these other features, and like you go back to it now, and it's a very, very well-rounded game, and does deserve its title.
Yeah, no, wonderful game. I'll buy it again if I could, which I can. I need a physical copy. Like that. I need a physical copy. I'm always on the eye. Have you
never bought a physical copy of Smash Bros. Ultimate?
No.
Really? I've got a great cover. Drew, such a beautiful cover.
I know it's a good cover, mate. Don't worry about that. I've seen that cover.
The EB sale right now, you could buy a second-hand one.
Yeah, good. It's never low enough, though. It's never low enough. I'm kind of like keeping an eye out on like Facebook Marketplace and things for like $50.
Would that be low enough? You bet to say 50.
Yeah, probably not. Like I know that's a good price for the game, but you know when I've already got it, don't know. Anyway, so Josh, 2018, where would we rank it? Above 2017 or below 2017?
Below, I think.
Below. I agree. There are, like I said, with Pokemon and Smash this year, they're the standouts for me. A couple of my favorite series of all time, but they do not beat Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey put together, as well as the other things.
Or Splatoon or ARMS. Drew, come on, mention that.
We didn't talk about ARMS. I love ARMS. Good game. Amazing music. Amazing lobbying system.
I love ARMS.
Yeah, love ARMS.
Yep.
Love them. Nice stringy arms, just like me. Just like me. All right. 2018 is officially below 2017 in their rankings. Before we move on to 2019, I want to throw it over to DJ, who wrote into the House of Mario. They say, congratulations on reaching 300, Drew. My best Switch experience was beating Breath of the Wild on an aeroplane with my Switch tablet stuck to the plane wall using a phone holder. It was awesome to have games like that on the go. My top five Switch games in no particular order is Breath of the Wild. No launch title ever has got me more hyped for any console. Animal Crossing New Horizons. Not sure I would have got through the pandemic without my animal buddies. Pokemon Legends Arceus. What a great shift for Pokemon formula, and I'm very excited for ZA. Luigi's Mansion 3. Another example of a series that has grown massively in the Switch generation. Monster Hunter Rise. How Capcom's developers managed to get this game running so well on Switch is the closest I've seen to Nintendo first-party magic. The game was an incredible experience for a portable console. Honorable mentions go to Mario Odyssey. It should be on the list, but I wanted to give a third-party a shout-out to. That's fair enough. I feel that urge, but the Nintendo fandom is too strong. I quite enjoyed their games over the last 8 years. Tears of the Kingdom, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and Let's Go Pikachu, because this was the first ever game my son completed. Oh, that's very nice. Cool. That's good. Actually, I should go back to that for Lucas when he's old enough. It just reminded me of that. Thanks for all the efforts on the podcast during the last 8 years. I'm looking forward to the next 300. So thank you very much, DJ.
Thanks, DJ.
I can't put into words how much I appreciate your support and messages and kindness over the last 8 years, 7 years. I don't know how long you've been listening to the show for, but it's been a long time. I super appreciate you being a part of the community, dude. So thank you very much. And hope you enjoy this episode we're recording right now, Josh. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Indeedably. Let's jump into 2019, Josh. And this is a big year just for things apart from video games. So we've got the Switch Lite. It came out September 20th. So a brand new model of the Switch. I remember this being, when it got announced, it was just like a random night. I'm like, it's kind of weird. And I was like, I don't need that. I've got the Switch. I don't really need a smaller Switch that can't be docked. And then at PAX that year, I played one. I'm like, And they had the EB store literally in the building. So I literally walked over and bought a yellow Switch Lite. I'm like, nice, cool. Because I quite liked it. It felt cool having a smaller Switch that, it was all just one unit. It felt quite nice. So I went and bought one. And also that year, Reggie announced that he was leaving Nintendo on the 22nd of February, and then he left that April. So a big sort of shake-up for Nintendo America.
Yeah.
And it is interesting how it seemed to be very good timing leaving in 2019. A lot of headaches he wouldn't have the following year.
Yeah, he avoided a lot of that. He did very well with his timing because I think he obviously wanted to leave on a high. because the Wii was such a low, then the Switch, by that stage was extremely popular. So I think he knew, yep, that will do. I can leave on a good note with this one.
Sure, definitely, yeah. I think a lot of the discussion at the time was, Doug Bowser, is he going to step up? Is he going to be in these Nintendo Directs? Is he going to be the personality? And he was in a couple, made a couple of Bowser jokes, but the company went in the opposite direction and just had no personality. And it's, don't know. We miss Reggie. We miss Reggie.
I miss Reggie. I think he was a great promoter for Nintendo, and it was a great sort of figurehead. And like some really cool directs and announcement videos over the years with him and Iwata and Miyamoto together doing some funky cool things. And so, I miss that. Doug's cool. Doug seems like a nice guy. I got nothing against Doug, but
no, definitely not.
Reggie was a showman and was a great marketer promoting Nintendo's latest system, whatever it was. And so, but they do it very differently now, don't they? Behind closed doors a bit more. Doug will tweet on big occasions, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's just different times. When Reggie came in 2004, it was just a completely different era. The GameCube was just being destroyed by the PS2 and needed somebody to come in and just shake things up. Somebody from marketing, somebody from a different background to what's previously been in that role. And Reggie was that person to come on the E3 stage and just come and shake things up, get some attention.
He helped the Wii launch well, didn't he? With the trying to get Wii Sports bundled in with the Wii. We listened to his book. So he was extremely influential for Nintendo, not just the figurehead for Nintendo of America, but because America's that biggest market, he was able to really influence those in Japan, in Kyoto, and get some really good outcomes, I think.
Yeah, definitely. He is missed. Hopefully he's going well. I'll have to check the rec room later on, see how he's going.
See how he's going.
He's been there for a while, just drinking. Just hydrating. All right, so 2019, we had some video games, Josh. We had Astral Chain, Box Boy plus Box Girl, Cadence of Hyrule, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, Dr. Kirishima's Brain Training for the Nintendo Switch, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Fitness Boxing, Luigi's Mansion 3, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, New Super Mario Bros. U, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Ring Fit Adventure, Super Mario Maker 2, Super Kirby Clash, The Stretches, which was like a weird, a Nintendo indie published game.
It's funky, that one. Yep.
Yeah. Tetris 99 and Yoshi's Crafted World from first party Nintendo. So another absolute bang year as well.
A lot came out this year. This was like a full year, I felt, of releases. I know there was 2018 had a decent amount overall, but this was like new stuff as well, and consistently new things and experiences. So I really like this year. 2019's up there for me.
Yeah. What's a highlight for you that you would like to start on?
Ooh, I think Fire Emblem 3 Houses. I got completely addicted to this game. It came out middle of the year, July 2019. I just got so completely addicted to this. I remember playing 25, 30 hours after the first week, and which was a lot, for me. Just playing one game. I was just like, yep, I love this routine, the story, and interacting with all the characters, what's going on, and then this 3D chess of Fire Emblem. I freaking love that game, and just some great memories playing that one. For sure. But also, Tetris 99, this is how I got into Tetris. And this came out February 2019. Was part of the Direct. I think it got shadow dropped at the same time. I was in America at the time. I was at the airport, needed something easy to play, and that's how I got into Tetris, and especially 99. And I've poured, I think, 100 hours into that game since it's come out. I think they're the big two ones for me. I can talk about a few more, but what about you?
One of my favorites here is Pokemon Sword and Shield. I think it's definitely one of my favorite Pokemon games on Switch. This was a game that was shrouded in negativity on the lead up to the game coming out. And Bryce and I, we covered it extensively on the House of Mario because we had our own emotions and feelings about it. And for those that don't remember or don't know, at E3 2019, the developers basically announced that not all of the Pokemon would be in the game for production reasons.
Yes.
And the internet lost their shit, and a lot of people had their different reasons. And some people were like, "Oh, what about if I can't use my favorite Pokemon? Like, what if I really want to use my Porygon and I can't use it?" It's like, well, then that's fair enough if that's how you feel. But personally, where Bryce and I were held our frustrations with the game was that if I feel like the years leading up to this game, there were a lot of like cut corners when it comes to Pokemon, and you could see them, and it was just snowballing, snowballing, snowballing. And I think we were hoping for like a big step up on a home console, and it's just them basically saying to our face like, "Hey, look, we're cutting more corners. We're just like cutting deeper into the actual content itself." Yeah, that was frustrating. So that's where our frustration come from. So, well, the games have been declining, and you're basically telling us that it's going to be declining more from there.
No good.
And when the game actually came out, we both really enjoyed it. We had our criticisms, obviously, including like the Pokemon cut itself. But I think ultimately we really enjoyed it. I think it had I really love the vibe of the Galar region based off of the UK, and how like all the gyms are playing off football. It's like a big football league essentially. I think I really enjoy the characters, even the rival Hop, which a lot of people don't like. The new Pokemon were great. I think like the wild area, while it looked, not all that impressive, it looked like an older game. I enjoyed just spending my time there doing max raids with friends, and just like collecting and trying to shiny hunt, and the changes they made to raising a competitive team and how easy it was to jump into competitive battles, how they were doing seasons of rank battles that you could get points for and got up the leaderboards, all of that. There was a lot of good things to love about Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I think at the time as well, I did appreciate how the game looked. It wasn't like an impressive game. It wasn't like a really like a pretty game, but I think like the routes, it looked like Pokemon to me. I think the character models as well. When I think of Pokemon, I think of like how Sword and Shield looked. I really enjoyed customizing my character, going to the shop, seeing what accessories I could put on. I really actually enjoy that aspect of the game, which I don't really fall into for a lot of games, but I was always changing around my shoes and the customization of things. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Just because the models were so, I don't know, they was just so clean in some ways. Like just they looked like real anime characters that I would imagine in the Pokemon anime or the Pokemon games. It's kind of how I pictured the games from the Game Boy evolving and looking like. And then like I guess current Pokemon currently, like I definitely prefer how these games looked, just in their art style and how they're presented.
Yeah, they look much better.
Yeah,
Much better.
So yeah, I've got a lot of love for Pokemon Sword and Shield. One of my favorite games on the Switch. It made my top 5. It made number 4 on my top 5. Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I had to think about that between, honestly, this and Pokemon Legends Arceus, which I also really enjoyed. But I think just the amount of time I spent with Sword and Shield just outweighs it. And how I felt about it at the time, especially like the first, I guess, proper Pokemon RPG with items and all the battle systems that you would expect on the Switch. Really like it. I've got a lot of nostalgia for it. And also my favorite DLC, maybe of all time, with Pokemon Sword and Shield 2. They really stepped up with the DLC. Just the explorable areas, what they added to it. Really enjoyed the DLC as well. So, one of my favorite games on the system. Loved it.
Yeah, it's I remember a lot of excitement for this one being the first console, in a way, version of the game. I know it's a bit of a hybrid, but it's still a great big jump from Sun and Moon to Sword and Shield here. I remember having a really great time playing this game and exploring around, and I enjoyed the open area and was excited by what that could bring. And then the Gigantamax was, funny seeing these massive
that's right.
Pokemon get absolutely huge in these stadiums, because there was a bit more of a stadium kind of vibe with these gym battles.
Yeah.
And yeah, the aesthetic of the UK terrain was really cool as well. So I put a lot more hours into Sword and Shield than I did with Scarlet and Violet, even though I enjoyed the gameplay maybe with Scarlet and Violet more. I'm not sure. So yeah, I like these games both for different reasons, and I think this one just kept me around a bit longer, just with the longevity of it and all that.
Yeah, and like it also might just be where we were with Pokemon and the Switch at the time. Like
Yeah,
Scarlet and
for
Violet
sure.
coming out that bit later, we might have been, not as excited of the
Yeah,
prospect of
potentially,
Pokemon on
for
Switch
sure.
and things like that too. Like all that plays into it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel the same. Yeah, I actually forgot to mention Dynamax and Gigantamax. I love that mechanic. It's not a popular opinion, but I prefer that mechanic over Mega Evolution purely because any Pokemon can be
Yes.
Dynamaxed in the
Yes.
battle. So this was a game where I was really into competitive. Doing it a little bit myself, but also just watching it. I was watching the
Okay.
Worlds, I was watching the regionals live streamed on Twitch, and it's really interesting seeing how, like, for example, in X and Y, if you've got a Pokemon that can go Mega, your opponent can see it from a mile away, and then you have to have the Mega Stone equipped to that Pokemon. So there's no sort of changing your strategy depending on what's happening. So with Gigantamax or Dynamax, you can easily be like, all right, I need this Pokemon to Dynamax now because otherwise I'll die. I need to need to Dynamax right now so I
Yeah.
can knock this Pokemon out. And it's just dynamic how you can just adapt on the fly, which Mega Evolution was not. Which I really liked. And then was it Z moves as well? I found that really boring. And
Okay. Yeah.
whatever they're doing with like the terrestrializing on Scarlet and Violet, I'm not really into that either. So
Anything. Yeah. Not
yeah,
fair.
I quite like that aspect of the game too. I could talk about that for a long time actually. Really like. I want to go play it right now. Hold on, Josh. Let me go.
Yeah. We'll just stop recording right now.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got plenty of other games too. Astral Chain. I never actually played all the way through this one. I need to actually play it. I started it, did not finish it.
Yeah, I'm about 15 hours in. I haven't finished it, but I did enjoy it. I think going into those alternative realities, that wasn't my favorite area. I think I'm stuck in one at the moment. That's why I've stopped. But yeah, that was a cool game, and like great that Nintendo was able to partner with Platinum to do it. Yeah, it would be great to get another game and make it an actual series.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it will happen though. Platinum's going through a bit of a hardship at the moment. We'll see.
Yes.
We'll see.
Yes, unless they've been working on it in the last few years, but yeah, maybe not.
Maybe not. Luigi's Mansion 3. I actually played through like the last quarter last year. I like dropped it for a long time and I went back and finished it. One of the best looking games on the system, really impressive.
Beautiful
Next level
looking game.
games.
Yeah.
This is the game that got them acquired by Nintendo. So
Yep, very deserved after that.
yeah. We'll
Yeah,
never hear their
stunning
name
game.
again. They're just a Nintendo studio now. Not in the
Yep.
credits. Who gives a shit? They're
Correct.
just part of the system now.
Part of Nintendo. They are Nintendo.
Yes, they are Nintendo. So yeah.
Unreal game, and that game sold like hotcakes. And Luigi's Mansion's a big series now. And when 4 comes out in the next couple of years, I imagine it's going to come out
Yeah.
in a couple of years, maybe next year. That'll be massive. Absolutely massive. That will sell like hotcakes again as well.
Mm. What will Luigi do this time? It's like, oh, I'm going to go to a bigger mansion. With more floors.
It has to be haunted at least, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Haunted airport.
Well, that's terrifying. I can't
And
do
then
that.
you got boo planes, and you go to other places, and they haunt them, and you got to stop the boo planes.
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
taking
Sign
them
me up,
over.
Josh.
Yeah, yeah. That's my
Sign me up. That sounds great.
the pitch for Luigi's Mansion 4.
Oh, get a job at Nintendo, dude.
Thank you.
That's next level. That idea.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah. So yeah. Link's Awakening. This was a cool
Yes.
little remake of the
Yes.
Game Boy game.
Beautiful looking game as well.
I'm actually not a big fan of this game, to be honest. It's too obtuse. I get lost. It's a pain in the ass to move around
Really?
the overworld map. Yeah. Not a
This
big
game
fan
stole
of
my
it.
heart. I really liked it. I know it chugs a bit at 30 frames sometimes and doesn't, but when it does not chug, it's a beautiful looking game. I think this was for me my first proper go at a 2D Zelda like that, and that got me more so into the series. The Switch has helped me get into Zelda, and this was one of them outside
Wonderful.
of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it's like one of the Zelda games where I'm just like, can't be, no, I don't know. I need to get. It's another one of those games where I've got to go back
Yeah.
and try it again.
Mm.
But yeah,
Have you done? Yeah. Sorry.
I think if I pick it up now, I'll be like, where the hell am I? Like I would have no idea where I would be. So
No, you do get stuck a bit in this. I did have to look up a couple of things. I know it's a shortish game, but yeah, just got a little stuck.
Yeah.
Did you?
Oh yeah, you go.
Did you ever play Ring Fit Adventure?
No, I did not. Never touched it. It's one of the rare games I've never touched on Switch.
Touched. Yep. So yeah, I didn't play it in 2019, but I got one last year, and I played a bit of it since.
You got a secondhand sweaty one.
I cleaned it, but yes, sweaty secondhand Ring Fit Adventure.
Couldn't even hold on to it. It was that greasy. You're squeezing it and just slips out of your hands.
Drew, I did the good old sniff test, and it proved to be okay. So try and
lick
test
taste. It's not too salty.
You can take the straps off and you put them in the wash. That's what you do, Drew, and you're all good after that.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it's very fun. Not sure I need to do it daily, because I think running does more, but a fun way if you don't want to go outside.
So that's where you need the Switch mounted to your head. And you're running, so you're looking at the 1-2 switch on the screen. When you're doing the band.
The Labo VR, that's what Labo needed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that also came out this year. And that was weird. And I bought that purely to try out the Labo VR.
Oh, you've tried it, yeah. So this was the thing, look, I was burnt from the first one I picked up. I'm like, I'm not doing the VR one. I can imagine what it's like.
The first one didn't interest me, but VR was enough to interest me, and I bought it for that. And I've seen Breath of the Wild in VR, and you should never see it in VR. Not like that, anyway.
So when you say that whole concept sounds crazy. Like I played Breath of the Wild in VR. You're like, wow, that sounds amazing.
It's not. It hurts your eyes. It's very grainy.
The Switch screen just touching your nose. Yeah.
Correct. So, it was fun as a trial. All my cardboard has since been thrown out, except the camera and the thing that fits onto the Switch. That's about it.
Was that stuff plastic? Is that why?
No, it's cardboard, but it's a bit smaller.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there it is in the corner. You can see it next to the Super Nintendo controllers. That thing there. Yep, there it is.
There you go. Yep. Well, next time I come over, I'll have to slot my Switch into it and give it a go.
Okay, I'll allow you.
After I'm just like all sweaty, like a 40-degree day, come in like,
yes.
Josh, can I just like mount that bit of cardboard to my face? Even though you want it as a nice display item there.
Display piece there. Yeah.
Yeah, can I just sweat over?
Now that you've done 300 episodes of the House of Mario. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
Only for that reason.
That's what you need to. Yeah, that's the barrier of friendship we need.
Correct.
We got Mario Maker 2. I played it a bit. I played through the little story mode. I played some other people's levels. I never really got into making my own. I'm not really that interested in making my own. So
yeah, same.
I was quite happy just playing other people's stuff.
Yeah, I like the single player. That was like enough for me. And then I would play other people's levels. The online sucked in this game. I really wanted to do online. It just absolutely horrible. Yeah,
it's awful, wasn't it? Like it was unplayable.
That ruined it for me in a way. Because I really liked the first one. The first one was so unique and different, and I just appreciated how cool that was. And the second one, I've just felt, I just haven't quite done it for me here. So I kind of fell off pretty quickly with it.
It was always great when I can't remember actually when Nintendo Online started charging for their online, because they had it for free for a while, for maybe a year or two. But
like 2018, wasn't it? Was it 19?
Might have been. I actually can't remember. That's something we should have looked up, to be honest. But
yes.
Yeah, the idea of like, I remember them maybe charging for it around this time and just having that game come out and not work. It wasn't the best look as far as that their online service went.
Late 2018, December. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was yes. Oh well. Maybe Mario Maker 3, we can have a bit of a click on the mouse and we'll be all about building those Mario levels.
Yeah, but that's right. It'd be perfect for that, if that's the reason.
I just want Nintendo to make those Mario games for me, to be honest. Don't need anyone else doing it.
Well, they do it the best, mostly, don't they? Yep. And then some of the ones that fans create are extremely hard and difficult.
Yeah,
Very,
people are
very
just
cool.
drawn. People are just drawn to that. Like, this make it real hard. It's like,
Yeah,
okay.
correct.
There
Yeah.
was a few real cool like Zelda dungeon inspired ones too in Mario World. How like you got to find a key, you've got to go
Yeah,
here. There was
right.
some really cool ideas that you wouldn't get from a Nintendo made Mario game. But yeah, I haven't felt an itch to go back to Mario Maker 2. It's,
No, same.
just to wrap it up, we got New Super Mario Brothers U, which was cool. I enjoyed that game, but that was a launch game from Wii U. Played it enough, but of course I was happy enough to play it again on Switch. I think
I really enjoyed it because
yeah,
that was my first time playing it, and yeah, I grew the appreciation for that game by playing it on Switch.
yeah. It's just it for Wii U. It was just like, this is the launch Mario game. Everyone's just like, man, this is the fourth one of these. Do I
Yeah.
have to buy? Yeah, there was a whole
so
thing.
bad. Yeah.
But yeah, just a game amongst other games coming out 2019. It's a really good Mario game just coming up. And then we got Yoshi's Crafted World from Goodfeel as well. And this is a game where I love the atmosphere. I love Yoshi. I love everything about it. But playing the game's a bit boring for me.
I'm the same. Looks cool. Love the crafty aesthetic, but yeah, just the gameplay for me just never drew me in, and I played a few hours and stopped.
Yeah, I tried to go back to it a few times, and just fell asleep a little bit.
Correct.
Just before we wrap up, I just want to do some third-party games. Some of the top-rated ones. We've got Dragon Quest XI, Ori and the Blind Forest. That came over from Xbox and Microsoft. Katana Zero, Cuphead, Wargroove, Ape Out, Baba Is You, Assault Android Cactus, Super Hot, Ukulele came out. Oh yeah, a Final Fantasy X remaster. I was thinking like I thought it was like going to be the Pixel remasters. I'm like, this didn't come out this year.
That's way too early.
Yeah, Slay the Spire. Yeah, a bunch of stuff. Atelier Ryza, Ever Darkness, and the Secret Hideout. That was a good one. Quite enjoyed that one. So yeah, all right. Where do we rank 2019?
In between 17 and 18, I would reckon at this stage.
Oh, you reckon it's better than 18?
I do.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm pretty. I can shift on that. I'll move that one. We'll put 20.
I think the thing for me was, we got a lot more fresher, newer things this year. And I think in a lot of ways, the best versions of certain franchises in a way. I think the Fire Emblem game really sort of opened out that series.
That's true. Fire Emblem,
Tetris
Luigi's
99,
Mansion 3. Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion 3. I think Pokemon in some ways does it in terms of the newness and how good it looks compared to the others. And then Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, for me, just the things that added to that made it great. And I just feel 2018's got a few like more meh games like Kirby Star Allies and Aces and Super Mario Party, which we haven't talked about yet. That is
true.
just the bare bones of just a Mario Party, and like it should have been so much more, and it does become so much more later on. But for me, it just didn't do much.
Yeah, that's true. Like for me, just like Smash Brothers for me just makes 2018. But just as a whole, I agree with you. I think because it's just filled out with Wii U ports, sort of waiting for maybe some of these other games to come out.
Yeah, there's a lot of ports, isn't there, in 2018 as well.
Yeah, cool.
Still there, Drew? I think your video's gone.
Yeah. I think it just said my battery died, even though I'm plugged in. But
okay.
Yeah, I'm still here. How you going?
You're still here?
Yeah, I'm still
Even though
here.
you plugged in your battery. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, don't know what's going on there.
Oh, it wouldn't be the 300th without another.
Yeah, that's right. You got to have it. You got to have a technical hiccup.
Yeah, a couple.
You're in there, don't you?
Yep.
It's all right.
Glad you're back.
I'm back, everyone. What are your listeners like? You just been a black
gone?
void the whole time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, what the hell? What the hell? Yep.
All right, 2020. So this was a year that was summed up. It's an infamous year historically.
Yes.
This was the year of the pandemic, and Animal Crossing was talk of the town for most of the year, pretty much. Just a really sort of awful time for humanity and all that, but it's also a very important year for video games, just to at very least buy at the time, but also comfort us and bring us together and give us a common interest to talk about and all this. And I guess from a business perspective, if you're Mr. Pocketbook at Nintendo, it was a great year to shift some systems. A lot of people were just sitting in the house, got nothing to do. You look up what's going on, and there's this real comforty game on Nintendo Switch where you just go around and talk to little animals and build a village. So you can see why Animal Crossing, just exploded on Switch. It's always been a relatively popular series, but going over 40 million, the second best-selling game on the whole system. A real surprise, like the months leading up to this game, it was I wouldn't have predicted that whatsoever, but the circumstances sort of forced everybody's hand, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because this was going to come out in 2019, wasn't it? Late 2019 at first, and I believe it was pushed back slightly. Yeah, my understanding was they...
I can't remember. I remember them... I think it was 2020, because I remember it being announced at E3 or something, and I remember being like, oh, yes, Animal Crossing. I was excited for it. Like, it's one of my... It's one of my favorite franchises. I discovered it on DS with Wild World, and I've always loved the series. And that was one of the franchises. I was like, I want it on Switch. It's been a long time since a console version, and this game belongs on a portable. So very excited for it. And it got announced. I was like, yes. Then it got its date come up, and I'm like, oh shit! Like it's so far away. I thought it was going to be like Christmas time, but it was in like March the following year. So I was like, no. So yeah, I think it was announced for 2020. I think maybe people might have been assuming that it was coming out that year, and that's why maybe the delay
maybe
sort of
like
thing was in the air.
Can't quite recall, but this game came out at the perfect time. This was the perfect time for that game with the pandemic. And yeah, I've got some for everything bad that happened during that year. We were pretty sheltered in Australia, and we had a lot of lockdowns compared to other parts of the world. So I very much remember just being locked down. I was with Michaela at her parents' house, and we were just I could work from home there, and so we'd just hang out together, have my lunch break, and I just play a bit of Animal Crossing, and we'd just talk and compare, like, how's your village going, how's your town going, what are you doing, or hacks to get certain villages you wanted to get over. We were just like discovering the things with the flowers, what to do. It was just really cool and fun, and so yeah, I really love that game, and yeah, I'm the same with you. I played the GameCube version of Animal Crossing back in the day with my brothers. We got Wild World on the DS, and we had been fans ever since the GameCube one, playing New Leaf on the 3DS as well. So we were waiting a long time for this game, and it was really great. I love the crafting mechanics. I really loved getting those different blueprints and working through that. I wish it had more support. Like I think everyone else says, there was a lot of stuff that they added later. Sold so well, then they stopped doing support for this game, and it was like, well, what are you doing, Nintendo? You could do a whole bunch more things here to keep people playing, get more DLC out. It deserves a bit more of that live service treatment that it didn't really get in the end. And once the pandemic really sort of slowed down, this game did as well. So it served its purpose. I really look back fondly. It was in my original 5 earlier when I was creating my top 5 list, but then I thought about it. I think I like the memories of playing the game at the time, not the game itself as much. So I've removed it, but it's very much still a special mention for me for top 5 Switch games.
Yeah, awesome. For me, I fell off of it relatively quickly. I wasn't a big fan of crafting like the usable items.
Yeah,
I think it works really great for furniture, and I love like gathering everything you need and all of that. But I felt like frustrated that I just wanted to go fishing. I just wanted to go bug catching, and then my net would break, and you got to go back to your house, go back to your crafting table, and yeah, I just felt that cumbersome and just unnecessary. And there wasn't even like an upgrade progression where you could get to the point where that wouldn't be an issue. Because like early on, I'm like, oh well, I'll work my way up, and I'll get the recipe for the golden fishing rod, the golden bug net, and all that. Then it just won't break. And I reckon that would have been perfect. I think that would have been fine. But even that breaks, and the idea of a golden item breaking, I'm like, I don't want to do all that work and just have it break still and still have to do the resources and all that. So, yeah, because one of my favorite things in Animal Crossing Wild World, first Animal Crossing game when I'm a kid, I would be watching TV with my parents. And I'll be sitting there with my DS. Tom Nook's shop would be shut, couldn't do anything. And I'll just be out in the night fishing, throwing my rod out, seeing the silhouette of the fish come in, wheel it in. And it's just so relaxing. I just love like having the music going, doing fishing. I don't know, there's something about it. It's one of my favorite things, as well as like obviously, interacting with the villagers and my best friend Philbert, all of that stuff. I've got a lot of fond memories, but don't know, for some reason that one detail kind of stopped me from fully enjoying it. But obviously, like the customization aspect of New Horizons is just phenomenal. I remember them announcing that, like how you could terraform your land, you could build hills, pathways, all of that. You could only dream of doing that in past Animal Crossing games. Like that's like the Animal Crossings of dreams where you could do that. But I think maybe that's not where maybe I get the most fun from. I'm not like, I'm going to just do this awesome village. For me, I like setting up a bit of an orchard. I love like just catching things and just existing there. I'm not like doing like a bunch of things like our friend Locklear, for example, her YouTube channel, she's doing like heaps of like custom villages. She does like all of this type of thing, and people are way into that, just having like an aesthetic. For me, not so much. So even though I can see that feature was absolutely fantastic, just like some other designed choices kind of hindered my enjoyment a little bit of that game, which I know it sounds like nitpicking, but it's ultimately what happened. So I'll be excited to see what they do with the next Animal Crossing game. I'm kind of fingers crossed that they have a bit of a solution for me just when it comes to the tools, but then maybe there is a progression to stop them from breaking, because I'm not one of these people that hate the item degradation in Breath of the Wild. I actually don't mind it at all. That's like a contentious thing with the new Zelda games, but the Animal Crossing one, man, I've got my pitchfork out for that. The item degradation in Animal Crossing, that's when I get frustrated.
It's such a great game to play for that half an hour every day, and for a while now I've been like, I'm good for the next Animal Crossing, but like I think thinking about it now, it's like it's been nearly 5 years now. Like, okay, if they came with one in the next year or so, I think I'd be ready to give it a go again and to play it. I think and hope, because this one was so successful, that they can come back and really hanker down on getting a really fun experience with the loops and being able to update this game regularly, ongoing. I think would that be the next big goal? I hope there's a big resource push towards this series going forward.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. I'll be so fascinated to see what Nintendo's doing internally, because typically the same team handles Splatoon and Animal Crossing, and they've both become Nintendo's biggest online.
They're the ones that have grown the most in the last few years. So they need to be separated as soon as possible. Yeah, so you can sort of like look at each of those franchises like, oh, why did they stop supporting Animal Crossing? It's like, well, in a few years, Splatoon 3 comes out. It had to come out. Yep,
that's why. Yeah. So yeah, I really think they've got to like expand and split those teams.
Yes.
So those games are always ticking along. Because Animal Crossing, man, it's important. It's important that it comes out.
Yep. Just like Splatoon now. I think you can have Splatoon a bit more frequently, but Animal Crossing, I think, fits best as a one per system entry. But I even think the earlier you get on your system, the better. So, maybe not next year, but the year after, 27. Probably time for it to come out there, and it's gonna do really well again.
Yep. Got to reunite me with Philbert on Switch too.
Yes, that's right. Little Philbert.
All right, I'll run through the list of games now. Obviously, Animal Crossing was the most important one this year, but we got Clubhouse Games, 51 worldwide classics.
Oh, yeah.
Fitness Boxing 2, Horror Warriors Age of Calamity, good job, Kirby Fighters 2, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, Paper Mario, The Origami King, Pikmin 3 Deluxe, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX, Pokemon Sword and Shield, The Crown Tundra, and also the other Pack, the Isle of Armor, Mario Bros. 35, Super Mario 3D All Stars, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, #FE, Part-Time UFO, and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition are the first party Nintendo releases for the rest of this year. Yes, I think there weren't. This was a year where it was very much, at the time, I felt like it was very much just carried by Animal Crossing. And I feel like Nintendo got lucky that Animal Crossing was so big that it could be carried. Because who knows, if it wasn't a pandemic year, potentially Animal Crossing comes out and it's a relatively big hit, but people are still really looking for like the next like big game, and it never really come. It was like, you know, a lot of like smaller games. So yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah.
Horror Warriors, I didn't play it for years. After I didn't play it like at all this year. I bought it, I downloaded it, I had it ready to go, but I never touched it until 2023 for the lead up of Tears of the Kingdom, when like I'm time to build up the hype. Let's play through this game, which is like I guess it's a sequel to Breath of the Wild, but it's in like a different timeline. You know, they travel through time and they end up in a different space, and so it tells the story of Breath of the Wild if some events didn't happen and the characters survive, which was really fascinating. And I think the team did a fantastic job of bringing this Warriors style to Zelda, and this was one of the Warriors games that it's probably like one of the second ones which I super enjoyed. I'll talk about one a little bit later, but yeah, it built the hype up so much for Tears of the Kingdom. I'm glad that I waited for it and didn't just play it at the end of 2020. Because yeah, what it does with the characters and actually seeing them alive and interacting with Link and Zelda and all that, really cool. So yeah, I love this game.
Nice. It was cool. Didn't play it, and probably, I don't know, like my style of game's not really suited to that. I don't know, but yeah, I think the story would have been the thing that did it for me, but just sadly, I think it got retconned or doesn't really count as canon. It's kind of a bit yeah, disappointing. You know, I don't really want to play it knowing that it doesn't matter. It's just an alternative of what would have happened and not what actually did, to explain the events of Breath of the Wild.
I get that, definitely, and I felt the same way, honestly.
Yeah.
But what they do is really cool.
Yeah.
So I reckon it's worth a playthrough. But yeah, if you're not into like this type of game, and I wasn't before either. When Horror Warriors came out on Wii U, I bought it and I'm like, I never played it. And it wasn't until I played a game we'll talk about a little bit later where I'm like, this is fun, and I got into it. Even to the point now where I'm actually playing the latest Dynasty Warriors game.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, no, it got me in.
Just got to try it, don't I? Yeah. So I this year is definitely the lowest in terms of output, and I think the pandemic obviously impacted that. We got I think we knew Animal Crossing and Xenoblade Chronicles X and Fire Emblem Tokyo Mirage Session, whatever it's called, FE, before the pandemic hit. And then we had Paper Mario the Origami King announced via Twitter. That was like 3 months in between release and that coming out. I think I really like that game. I think that's a somewhat mostly return to form for the Paper Mario series. I know people really love the turn-based style of the original one on the 64 and then the 1,000-Year Door. But I thought Origami King's the next best one in the series, even probably before Super Paper Mario, in my opinion. Just really love the wackiness and the humor of that. I think they really nailed that. And while the battle system's weird with the circles, it's different and unique enough for me to make that stand out for me anyway. And there's a lot to do in that game. There's a lot of ports this year. We got the Mystery Dungeon games. We got Tokyo Mirage Session. That's a Wii U game. Xenoblade Chronicles is a Wii game. And then Pikmin 3 Deluxe, a Wii U game. And then the Super Mario Bros. 3D All-Stars is all a bunch of old games bundled together. So it's a lot of like, nothing that new, I think. Or Animal Crossing, Paper Mario, Origami King. And you can't even count 51 Worldwide Classics as a new game because that's a lot of old stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally like chess and poker and stuff. Yeah,
I love this game, by the way. This is like like
Yeah.
Mancala, learning how to play that, and I've got one of my other brothers, Tom, who hasn't been on my show yet, but he loves board games and other games like that. And I bought this for him because he kept wanting to borrow and play this game and play it with me. And so one birthday, I just got it for him as well, and he was so happy with it. So I've loved playing Switch in the tabletop aspects using this game. This is such a great game when you're traveling and you like. I've played this in waiting rooms with Michaela before, and just perfect game just to get out there. You can play something for 5-10 minutes, and then away you go.
Yeah.
And then Xenoblade Chronicles this year.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It just utilizes the form factor of the Switch so well. Just put it down, and
correct.
it becomes like literally a chessboard or whatever.
Yeah. 100%.
I think for me, it's just the only disappointing thing about it was like some modes you're like, oh, I just want to play 2 players, and some games you just couldn't play.
Yeah.
Like it locked off like a lot of content if you didn't have 4 people or whatever, which was frustrating.
And they didn't need to do that. I thought like these games can have these amount of players, and they just have capped it. So yeah, that was frustrating for sure. Still a great package. Xenoblade Chronicles, I got into the series from this game this year. Absolutely unreal. Nintendo telling story-based games. We're so used to them having gameplay first and story second. This was the other way around, and I got hooked straight away, and really loved my time playing this game. From that, I eventually got around to doing 2 and 3, and then I'm keen for X that comes out in a couple of months, coming out on the Switch as well. So, this was cool. Discovering this was for me like, knowing a bit more about Xenoblade this year was very fun and cool. And on top of that, Pikmin 3 getting that finally on Switch in the deluxe version. That's a great version of that game, and some of the extra challenges outside the main story keep you really engaged and hooked, and that's a really solid title. And then I'm a 3D Mario stickler, so getting 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy together in a bundle. I think getting Sunshine was the extra special one for me because you don't get a lot of GameCube stuff coming across at that stage anyway.
First port. It's that first time it was on another system, yeah.
Yeah, correct. And so that was great. And so that's a great package. I know they did the bare bones in terms of getting them on the system, not much scaling up. It's a bit of an orchestral stuff bonus on the side, but still a really cool package. Not cool that they limited it to you can only buy it for a certain amount of time before it goes into the Nintendo Vault equivalent of what Disney does. Not cool. Did not like that. I think they did a similar thing either this year or last year, 2020 or 19, with Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon, and the Blade of Light, whatever it was called.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did.
NES English localization. That was a limited time purchase. I bought that thankfully before that disappeared. I have a soft spot for this year. I know it's not a good year, but a lot of the stuff that came out I was engaged with and really enjoyed.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think I look at it, I'm like, it was definitely a slower year for me, I think. But I can see like your taste, like I know you love like Origami King, obviously the Pikmin King, you love Pikmin.
Love my Pikmin.
Got into Xenoblade Chronicles more, so there's a lot there for you. Whereas for me, like I sort of didn't really play much of that stuff. And Mystery Dungeon, I loved that game, but I think as I played it, this is just maybe the millennial in me at this point. But I was like, I just want the original one. I want the pixels. And I feel like that about maybe a few like 3D remakes of some of these older games. So like on Switch at the moment, I'm just playing through Mystery Dungeon just on Nintendo Switch Online. I just prefer that version.
Yeah, that's right. Why not?
It is strange. Like 3D All Stars is one of the most baffling decisions where I get their idea of trying to make it feel special, but at the same time, just sell these old Mario games to us. Like if you pick up a Switch,
it created that false sense of scarcity, and I'm sure it made it sell faster at the time. But I think if they kept it on over time, it would have surpassed the sales it's at now.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely, just Mario Galaxy and Mario Sunshine just not being accessible now. Like if you pick up a Switch, it's just annoying. But hey, that's their decision. If don't want to sell those extra copies. I guess good on them. Just go and emulate it if you have to.
Yeah, correct.
So 2020, where does it fit in? For me, it's at the bottom of what we've got at the moment. But how are you feeling since you're feeling a bit more high on it?
Yeah, I like it more than 2018. But I think it's near the lower end for me as well. So I think it's probably last overall for the 4 years that we've done so far.
Okay. All right, we'll do that. Look at us. 2020, number 4.
Number 4. For now.
All right. Let's before we move on to next year, let's bring in Luke, aka Levanede, into the House of Mario. He writes in and says, besides the obvious amazing games like Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 2, and Xenoblade Chronicles 3, one of my favourite things that we got is another Code Recollection, a remake of two of my favourite DS and Wii games. I thought there was a 0% chance of a remake ever happening. It was my second favourite game of last year behind 1000 Times Resist. Congrats on reaching 300 episodes. As a listener from the early days, I think bringing Josh onto the show was the right decision to keep up the quality of the show. Keep up the good work. So, Luke, thank you very much appreciate it. Thanks for writing in. And yes, bringing in Josh was the right choice. I hope it wasn't the wrong choice.
Thanks so much, Luke. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, meet you at PAX over the last couple of years. Really enjoyed the chats we have. And thanks so much for listening to the show and being part of the journey for 300 episodes.
Yeah, and just having such high praise for another Code Recollection as well. That's one we'll get to a little bit later. But
yes,
it's nice putting some limelight on a game that probably won't get it from everyone, more of a niche title. And looking at my top 5, mine are all like bigger titles, a bit more vanilla as far as like Nintendo fans go. So I'm glad there's some tastemakers out there like Luke.
Definitely. He helped me get into another Code as well. Him and Egmont, definitely.
All right, so 2021, Josh. This was the year of the Nintendo Switch OLED being released on October 8th. And this was a year we were just like, the rumors were, they were going around much like they were maybe a couple of days ago. We're like, oh, Switch Pro. That was the word on the tip of everybody's tongue. Everybody 4 years in, like, we need this bad boy to be upgraded. We need some more RAM. We need a bit more shaders on these freaking characters. I don't know. We need something. Just give us something. Charge us again. We need to spend $500 on this little tablet from Nintendo. And the rumors are going around, all the same rumors, like, oh, it's going to launch with The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD. Just all the stuff we've heard a million times. And at the time, I wasn't so burnt out. I was following it a bit more closely, talking about it on the House of Mario, and Nintendo finally dropped a trailer. And it's a brand new Switch. Like, oh my God, here it is. And it's an OLED model. And they've redone the chassis. The outside's different. They've redesigned it. It's metal, better kickstand. All of this beautiful 7-inch OLED screen. But apart from that, it's the same. And we looked at it.
Yep.
Went, oh, well, it's not what we wanted. But goddamn, that screen looks good. So I'll pick it up. And I'm glad that I did. Josh. Really a really great upgrade as far as like the screen goes. It's literally night and day. OLED model, fantastic, and it's going to be the model that might bite Nintendo in the ass when we get our Switch 2 in our hands, and we're like, man, the colors look so much better on the OLED. But maybe that's the benefit you've got of not playing on one.
I won't know. That's right. I'll be thinking this is amazing. Like, yeah, I've never known what OLED is to sort of compare and contrast it to. 2021 was the start of the Switch Pro rumors properly, wasn't it? And it really, the OLED was, there's always theories about whether that was meant to be it, and they just reverted back to an OLED screen. I'm not sure. Nintendo hasn't really been one to give us more powerful stuff, late in a console's journey. I know there's, they've got the 64DD and the Satellaviews, things like that, which you could maybe count. But
we've got the Nintendo 64 expansion pack. Chuck some more RAM in that bad boy.
Yeah, so they haven't done it recently anyway, and so none of them have been successful. I would argue.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
so
yeah, definitely.
um, so this comes out, and this is if you're a handheld gamer, the OLED's amazing. I'm obviously a more docked, like it on my TV, get my Pro controller out and play it that way. So at this stage, my Switch was doing pretty well, but it was a day one Switch, and so it got the crack at the top of the tablet. The battery hadn't bloated or anything like that. But it was in pretty good nick, really, and so I just couldn't, not playing handheld enough. I couldn't convince myself to get one, even though it had, an Ethernet port, which should be the original Xbox had an Ethernet port, to be honest, and so the OG dock should have had that to begin with, and then
It's funny because how they put in the Ethernet port, it's actually kind of annoying because they took away a USB-C, and I actually use like the USB-Cs rather than the Ethernet port.
Should have added instead of substituted one out, and so that's annoying. And then the kickstand was the other big thing for me. Like, I could when I do handheld gaming or tabletop, when I'm traveling by plane or going somewhere, that's when it's handy to have the kickstand and a good one.
Yeah, it changed how I use the Switch in bed because with the original Switch, just that little kickstand, it wouldn't work in bed because it's not a hard surface, but with the OLED just being able to chuck out that big solid kickstand from the back, I could put it in bed next to my pillow, have my Joy-Cons by my side, laying in bed. It was quite good.
And it works.
You can even stand up the Switch vertically too with that kickstand too, how it works.
Yeah.
Just a really nice quality of life update for the Switch.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Yeah. And a lot of people are upgraded, and people are more than happy to pay the extra $50 or so from the original Switch to get it OLED instead. It is worth it if you, like we said, those other things you really like. It's worth the upgrade.
Yeah. So let's talk about the games that came out this year as well. We got Bowser's Fury, which was a bit of an add-on to Mario 3D World, which was great addition. We got Famicom Detective Club, Game Builder Garage, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, Mario Golf Super Rush, Mario Party Superstars, Metroid Dread, new Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, WarioWare Get It Together, Pac-Man 99, and am I missing any other first-party stuff? Not that I can see. Cool. Oh, we got a what's that game called? Big Brain Academy. I remember having that on Wii.
Yes.
I did not play it on.
Is it Game Builder Garage?
I did.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, looking at this, it was a good year. I remember enjoying it at the time. And, I guess highlights would be probably Metroid Dread, maybe Pokemon to some extent. And at the start of the year, starting it off with, Mario 3D World as well, with the Bowser's Fury expansion. Really enjoyed that game. I actually enjoyed the game much more than I did on Wii U. And I don't know if it's because of this, but it probably is, without me even really noticing. But in this version, they sped up the run speed by 0.5% or something? They made the movement speed that little bit faster. And I think it just made it feel it's so much better. It was
so much better.
It's kind of crazy how much it changed the feel of the game.
It feels like a completely different game. And I remember playing on the Wii U, and I don't know, it just didn't really click for me. And then I think also the Switch hype and, it's such a better console to play things on. Just all of that made it better on the Switch. Yeah. But the speed was massive. That was a massive improvement for such a small change.
On the Wii U, I never felt like, this game's slow. I never really felt that. But because when I played 3D World, at the time, I preferred 3D Land on 3DS. I was like, that was my preferred one. But after playing it on Switch, I'm like, definitely not.
No.
3D World is definitely the better one.
3D World's great.
Yeah. I went through and 100%ed the game on Switch. I absolutely loved it.
Even the last level? You do the championship road, whatever it's called?
I assume I did.
That's tough, man.
Great effort.
Great effort if you can do that.
Because I remember doing everything except for because there's one, I forgot what it was on the overworld map, but you've got to hit the top of the flagpole with all the characters.
Yeah, all 5. Yeah.
I'm not sure if I did that because if I'm playing by myself, that's 5 playthroughs.
Yes.
I don't think I did that. So I guess technically I didn't 100% it, but I got all the, everything else. I assume I did the last level. I actually can't remember what it was.
I
Champions
love this
Road.
package, man. This was like I don't know, just something about like it's a Wii U port, but I massively enjoyed it way much more on the Switch,
Yeah.
and really fell in love with this game. I finally got this game after playing this one, and then Bowser's Fury as well. We got that taste of what this probably next Mario 3D Mario is going to look like and play like when we get that maybe later this year, hopefully. That's such a fun like open way to play a 3D Mario game where you just sort of on the water there. You go to the different islands and structures, and every few minutes Bowser unleashes his fury, and you've got to duck and dodge and try and dive away from the flames. It was such a cool, different way to play a Mario game, and has me really excited to what's to come because there was a lot of very, very good platforming in that.
Yeah, it was sort of eye-opening just to see how Mario could work in a different format and how it opened up different areas and allowed you to progress and getting to ride on, was it Plessy on the open water and things like that. Like, just really cool, and it just seemed like such an experiment for potentially what we're going to be getting in 2025. Like, that's the hope that that was like a little bit of a playground, a bit of an experiment.
It was,
and see how they really utilize maybe a big area or even bigger area, hopefully, in the future. So, yeah, it was really cool. Skyward Sword HD. Skyward Sword's always been a game that I love, but also hate at the same time. It's got like a weird relationship with it. So when it got announced for Switch, I'm like, cool. I don't really need to play it, but it was interesting how they redid the motion controls to like the analog stick, and that was such a selling feature for the Wii. And then it was just like, put down onto a stick, and I think a lot of people sort of liked how they implemented those controls into the stick, using the second stick to slash the left, right, up, down, all of that type of thing. I played like maybe a quarter way through the game. I'm like, cool. Like, I get it. I've played it before. I don't have to do it again. So yeah,
it's on my list. I need to play this one.
Yeah, I'm glad it's there. Like, now that you're a Zelda fan, like more into it than say when this game came out or like originally, I think you'll get a kick maybe out of the lore and the storytelling, because like
I think that's what interests me the most if I was going to play it is because it's the first one and just sort of understanding that a bit. And I've seen it passively through Michaela's playthroughs, but this is the next 3D Zelda game I need to play is this one.
Yeah, because it's got like the origin of the Triforce and a bunch of interesting stuff you'll get a kick out, and like the origins of Hyrule. It's really great, really great. So yeah, when you got time, I don't know how much time you'll have on your Nintendo slate this year, but hey, one day.
Yeah, I don't know if I will have a lot, to be honest. I think February is not going to be as empty as people think it might be. So,
No, you'll be busy.
Yes.
WarioWare, get it together. I liked this WarioWare. It
Love this
was
game.
just like such a
Really
different
like this
take. How it had like, all the different characters with their own abilities and how that affected the micro games. One character might be able to jump a certain way, another character might have to jump all the time, other character might not be able to jump at all. Like, just all of these different sort of variations on whatever their skills are. And straight away, I was just thinking about like the QA for this game and the design. That every single level has to be designed for every single character, and it's just like they didn't have to go this hard, but they did.
They did.
And I think I preferred maybe like normal WarioWare. I think I preferred the WarioWare game that came out later on. But yeah, I was really impressed how they tried something different and they went to so much effort to do it. And it was just another great WarioWare game. And
it's my favorite one, Drew. It's my favorite WarioWare game.
Fantastic. Awesome.
I played 40 hours of this for a WarioWare game. This is like,
damn, dude.
That's a lot. I did a lot of, I got addicted to this. They had the weekly challenges. You had you could get points to unlock certain items, and just the way the gameplay loop just absolutely hooked me, and I absolutely loved playing this game. And like you said, it's the same challenges, but you got different characters, and some of them are very, very hard, some of them very easy. But then you had to work out your team and like which ones would you like rotate between, and it was very, very cool. I just really appreciated this twist on the WarioWare formula. And this game feels like the most effort they've ever put into one. because uh, um, the later one on Switch, I forget the name of it, that came out in late 2023. Move It, yes. I don't know, just fell on slight deaf ears for me, and I enjoyed it for the few hours I played it, but it just kind of dropped off for me. But to get it together, I was there for months on that game, which for a WarioWare game is pretty unheard of.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just there, like, trying to beat your scores and do all the challenges and that. Yeah, that's cool.
All of it. And then leaderboards, online challenges. It was great. Really good.
I remember playing this game on my honeymoon around the swimming pool, around at the motel we were playing.
Nothing more romantic.
That's right, bit of WarioWare.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was good fun. What else we got this year? We got a good year this year, Josh.
Got the best Mario Party ever. And Superstars.
Best one ever. All right, tell us about. I'm not a Mario Party man. I got no friends. So tell us about this one.
Yeah. So this was a deliberate diversion from Super Mario Party series because they're not calling it Super Mario Party Superstars. This is Mario Party Superstars instead. All button controls, no motion controls, because the other one used them, and I don't think it hit quite as hard. But this was button controls and a bit of throwback to the 64 and GameCube games when the Mario Party series was at its peak, at its highest point. You had classic game boards from those games and mini games from those games as well. So it was just a really great bundle reimagining of some of those game boards. You got Peach's birthday cake, I think it's the name of the board, and a few other really cool ones. To me, it's just, I don't know, like Jamboree's come, and I think maybe slightly surpasses it, but Superstars, when it came out, was like, yeah, this is the best one, and did a really great job.
Yeah, I bought this game. I got it loaded on my Switch.
Yeah,
I just never played it.
You've never been the co-op multiplayer Super Mario Party fan, so it's fun.
I mean, I've got these games ready, just ready for when the kids are old enough.
Yeah,
we're playing Mario Party, playing Mario Wonder, we're playing like all this stuff.
Yep.
Or we're just playing Smash Brothers and we're just going to kick your heads in. I don't know, but I'm waiting for my time to come, but it's not yet. We'll have like 5 or 4 Mario Parties by the time.
You will get your Mario Party renaissance. You will. Don't worry.
It will happen.
Yep, definitely.
Yep. Mario Golf Super Rush. I liked it. It wasn't perfect. The story mode felt like it was made by university students. Like it was just, it felt like real bare bones and all of that. But
it felt better than Aces though. If you agree with that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I played through the golf one instead of
not much, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed it enough.
I thought it was fairly solid. I hear people give this game a lot more flack, but I think this is the best sports game in the series on Switch. Better than Tennis Aces, and then obviously Battle League Football is no good. This is I think the best one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like the stakes aren't high whatsoever when it comes to Mario sports titles on Switch. I think that's where Switch failed the most, when we saw like all of these franchises step up. But when it came to Mario sports games, they were just like cheap filler games, which weren't worth your time, to be honest with you. But I would say if you're going to pick one to have fun with, Mario Golf would be the one to pick on Switch. And then like stuff like Miitopia. Miitopia is always the game I think about, like, a 3DS port. Why wasn't it Kid Icarus Uprising? Like Miitopia gets a port.
Yeah, they chose that one over Kid Icarus.
They chose that one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, good for them.
Have you played Miitopia? I've never touched it, so...
No, I haven't. It was a late 3DS game, and I was on the Switch train, and it wasn't until like years later where it's like, oh, 3DS is cool, and you go back to it. But Miitopia wasn't one of those. All right, I'll talk about Pokemon before you dive into your beloved. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. In some ways, I mean, they're fun Pokemon games. They're remakes of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, which are great DS games. So you go back and you play them. They're just 3D remakes of those games. It's kind of how you remember it in some ways. No new Pokemon since Generation 4. None of that's added. Not really much content. You got the Underground, which is a lot more flushed out, and you can get a lot more Pokemon as far as variety goes within the original games. But a lot of it's been untouched, and all of the sort of benefits and the quality of life changes and all of the nice things that came from Pokemon Platinum, the third version of this generation of Pokemon, wasn't included, including the Battle Frontier and Giratina and a bunch of all that cool stuff. So that was disappointing, and this is probably the first time a Pokemon remake has just been this bare bones. It was handled by a different development team, Ilka, who do the Pokemon Home app. So yeah, it was a disappointing game, but ultimately you pick it up, you play through it. It's a Pokemon game. It's fun, and yeah, I played it. It took me like 40 hours to beat the game, so I put a decent amount of time into it. I think the best thing about this game is it wasn't made on Game Freak's proprietary engine. It was actually made on Unity. So hackers are actually able to like break this thing apart and make their own hacks using these assets a lot easier.
Cool.
So that's actually really exciting. There's actually a team adding all the platinum changes into this game. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. I'm actually pretty excited to play that this year. I'll play through this game again, but with all the platinum stuff included in it.
Hell yeah. Nice.
So
great.
That's kind of a good thing. Like, there's a lot of sort of disappointing things you can say about this, but yeah, at the end of it, it's just Pokemon. It's definitely not the one I would recommend on Switch. There'll be a few before this I'd recommend, probably even Scarlet and Violet. But if you're looking for classic traditional Pokemon with no added just fluff mechanics, like, Mega Evolution, Dynamax, all that type of thing, yeah, this is a good one to jump into. So yeah.
All the other remakes throughout the years, I just really loved Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Leaf Green, Fire Red, Omega, Ruby, Alpha, Sapphire, just this one just felt a bit like bare bones and didn't quite hit the mark for me. The art styles are quite, it causes a bit of contention. And it is literally just a slight remake, better looking version of these games. And I think a lot of people didn't quite want that because they wanted the platinum content as well. And I think they're the worst of the remakes by far. Just a little shame. I just hope when the black and white ones do come out that they do, I don't know how they do it with black and white version 2, adding that stuff a bit more because it's, different story and all that.
Yeah. I mean, they're two separate games, so
yeah,
two remakes.
Right. Yeah.
Double dip on it, Game Freak.
Maybe do that. So, it fell a little flat for me, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, I totally get that, and yeah, there's after these, honestly, when people are talking about black and white remakes, I'm honestly like, just leave them alone. Don't touch them. Don't bother.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna do that, just leave them alone.
Yeah, if you give it the same treatment, correct. Yeah, don't. No point.
Don't do that, please. All right, Josh, I'm going to leave it to you for your beloved.
Thank you. This was pretty special. I think this is my most excited reveal for the Switch, because we hadn't had a 2D Metroid in 19 years at that stage. The last new one was Metroid Fusion, and to get that announcement that at E3 in 2021 that not just getting a new 2D Metroid, but it's being called Dread. That gets talked about in Prime 3 Corruption. Project Dread is near completion. We worked out later it's got nothing to do with the actual game here or the rumored one on the DS, but it's a bit of a folklore kind of thing. That next 2D Metroid, is it going to be Metroid Dread? And we got the title at least, and it's actually happened. And Mercury Steam did a phenomenal job after Samus Returns on the 3DS. They get given the chance to make a full proper Metroid game in its own right, Metroid 5 here. And they absolutely nail it. They blast this out of the park just with the story and the feel. Absolutely great fluid controls. The way you slide everywhere. You do get that sense of dread with the Emmy robots. They are very cool. Also, scary moments. Sometimes I don't really enjoy doing it. Other times you can get the adrenaline pumping as one's really right behind you. You're zigging and zagging, trying to avoid them. And the ending, I don't want to say the ending because it does set up a bit of what could come if they do more. When they do more, I'm pretty sure there'll be more. but such a cool ending. The Metroid series does such a great job of, I don't know, just you can tell what Samus is thinking or feeling, and she doesn't say a lot. She does a lot of grunting, but I don't know, just sometimes you just know what she's reacting, how she's thinking on the inside, and they do the subtext communication of stories so well through these games. And I love the series for that because you're very much feeling isolated the entire time, which I think's when Metroid's at its peak. And so, yeah, they carry over the parry from Samus Returns that comes back into this. And some really great cutscenes, some great bosses. They add some cool boss rush modes afterwards. I finished this on hard, and then I can't do the next hardness above that because that's like one hit and you're dead or something like that. It's next to impossible. Ooh. So I'm known to never try that. The only flaw for me with this game is the music, and I don't know. I don't remember some of the tracks here compared to like Super Metroid or even Fusion. Of course, compared to the original and the Zero Mission, the remake of that. I feel the music just falls a little flat for me here. So that's where it loses a couple of marks in my book. But amazing that we got it. It's the best-selling Metroid game ever, over 3 million copies. I hope it gets surpassed by Beyond when that comes out later this year. But this is a great game, a great Metroidvania. Please check it out if you're ever so interested in getting into the series. It's definitely worth your time.
Yeah, I need to go back to it and finish it. I would, but what I did play kicked my ass, but incredibly stylish, controls fantastic, and the exploration was actually quite fun in this. I usually get frustrated with a lot of this, and don't get me wrong, I had my frustrations trying to friggin' find my way around this map too. But yeah, I did quite
great.
Absolutely.
It kind of flows. You kind of never found I was lost too often, and you're kind of just flowing the right way. It kind of nudges you where to go. Don't know if you subconsciously noticed that when you were playing, but you kind of work your way without really thinking about it.
Mm. And I've got like memories of, I think this game came out the same day as the OLED. So
it did, yes.
Yeah, so that was like the first game I played on the Switch OLED, and plus like the blacks and everything in this game, just it works so well with that brand new screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I need to get back to it. It's one of those, that's one for me where it's, hopefully my Nintendo schedule doesn't get too busy later on, and I'll be able to chuck it on.
Give it a go. Yep.
Yeah, you'll have to hold my feet to the flames on that one, Josh.
Hey, yep. Done. I'll do it. Don't worry.
Done. I've got the match. I'm ready to go, Drew.
Yep. Anytime.
All right. Let's get ready to rank it, Josh. Where should we put it? 2021.
Yeah, so if you haven't noticed, I love the odd numbers in Switch years. So 23, 17, 19, and 21, they're my top 4 years. I love these years. So what do we have so far? We've got 17, 19, 18, then 20.
Yes.
So for me, this goes above 18 and below 19.
Above 18, below 19. Is that in there? Yep.
So third.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it. Why not? I'm not against it. Let's do that.
You sure?
Yeah.
Or would you put it below 18?
I mean, the releases this year, there was so many releases. So I get it, man. I get it. We'll put it there. I'm happy with that. I'm kind of like, some of these years in between, I can be flexible on.
Yeah.
Because I do understand, like, maybe 2018, it's just bolstered for me because of Smash. Like, I'm like, looking at the games that come out for 2018, I'm like, I mean, Smash and Pokemon and the rest were just, But the whole year was just like, hype. So that's why it's special to me. But when we're putting together this list, I need to let go of that a little bit and, put some of these games. Because, 2021, we're looking at the games here, and what I read out before, there's just so many. Even if like some are like a little bit smaller games, like the Famicom Detective games, which we didn't play, but they came out this year, and all of that too. So I can see it, and I enjoyed quite a few games from the list here too. So let's have it there.
Cool. It's a really good year, and like another banging year. They've been very consistent at this stage already, just with some really great releases.
Yeah, no, definitely. Josh, let's bring in Egmont into the House of Mario. Let's read what he had to say in the Discord. Egmont, aka Zach, said, "Congratulations on 300 episodes, Ruby, as well as both Revan, aka Bryce, and Josh for their part over the years. It might not be the best moment, but for me, the Animal Crossing New Horizons craze was such a key moment of the Switch's life. I remember going to EB Games and picking up a brand new Switch for my mum and 3 copies of Animal Crossing New Horizons for myself, my mum, and my then girlfriend, now my wife, and then meeting up at my parents' house just before lockdown. Melbourne famously is one of the most lockdown cities in the world during the pandemic, and that game kept me connected to many of my loved ones. It would have been a much darker time without it. I also feel have a very fond memory of playing Nintendo Switch Sports with my parents and my wife on a holiday. My dad wasn't able to be too physically active, but he could move his arm enough to beat us at bowling. The House of Mario has also been a staple for me over the years. There are certain places that I go to and bring back memories of episodes and conversations in the past. It is fun to be able to tie memories in my life, not only to the Switch and its games, but to the conversations you lads have. Looking forward to 300 more." So thank you very much, Zach. And I have that with podcasts too. Sometimes I'm just like in a random spot and I remember like a certain sentence somebody was saying like in a podcast I was listening to. It's really weird. Maybe you're going for a drive and you just like remember an episode from maybe 3 years ago. Oh yeah, I remember like this thing. Like it just pops back in your head. So I get that. So
That's cool.
I can imagine like Josh just saying something vile and you just remember it because like he passed a certain tree when you heard him say it.
That's it. But no, they're really great words, Zach, and thank you so much. And another person being able to meet in person and form a great friendship with. And thank you for your kind words on the House of Mario. And love all the work that you do for us in our Discord, sharing information, talking about all the news. You really help bring our communities to life. And we thank you for it.
Yeah, no, definitely. We appreciate you so much. Just being a voice and obviously being able to catch up with you in person once a year is awesome as well. And appreciate the kind words and the support of the podcast over the last 8 years. You've been here since the very start, pretty much.
Yeah.
Posting in the Aussie Nintendo Facebook group and been there ever since. So yeah, thank you very much, dude. Really appreciate it, and hope everything's going well with you.
Yeah.
Josh, 2022. Another not too bad year. We got a few games. We're picking up a little bit. Let's get to the list here. I've sort of scrolled past it. Here we go. We've got Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Bayonetta 3, Kirby's Dream Buffet, Mario Strikers Battle League, Nintendo Switch Sports, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Splatoon 3, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and Triangle Strategy, which was a Square Enix game but published by Nintendo. So I like this list of games, Josh. I want to start off with Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. And I loved like the aesthetic and everything that Fire Emblem brought, especially with 3 houses. But I don't know. I always fall off of it. I don't do it on purpose. I just do. I just fall off of it. And while I love turn-based strategy, I'm not that much into like just like maybe the grid. I don't know. It frustrates me. Don't ask. So
Okay. Right.
When 3 Hopes came out as a Muso game, a Warriors game, I'm like, all right, I can have all of that, but in an action game. And so I was very keen to jump into it, and ultimately I love this game. I think it might have been like one of my favorite games this year, just having like Fire Emblem 3 houses. If like the start of the game, like something changes just a little bit, you got a brand new protagonist, and instead of something bad happening, something else happens, and it sort of moves the whole story in a different direction. And you're able to pick a house, much like you were in 3 houses, and you just say the story goes on from there. And it's interesting, like experiencing this game without experiencing 3 houses, because like I know the story of this, but I don't know the story of 3 houses, which is interesting.
Yeah. Different angle I don't think many people took that one.
Yeah, no, totally. It's this is where like the Muso game like really stuck with me because you've got all those Fire Emblem mechanics with the different sort of weapon triangle, how that all works. You've got the relationships with the different housemates. Like you've got all of that, but it's just in a different genre, an action game, a Muso game, which I love. So this was I think I spent like 35 hours or something with it to beat the main story. And ever since this game, I was like, all right, any other Nintendo Warriors games coming out? Sign me up. I'm going to play it.
Be keen for
and I talked about Age of Calamity before. I went back and played that the year afterwards, and I really loved that one as well. So yeah, I was looking at there was a bit of an EB sale at the time of recording this, Josh, and I mentioned it to you, but I saw this game was like $5 if you're lucky enough to pick it up. I'm like, actually no, that wasn't $5. Metroid Prime was $5. This was 15. I'm like, 15. That's pretty bloody good. I wouldn't mind a physical copy.
Pretty good.
Because at the time I was lucky enough to get a review code from Nintendo, so I had it have a digital copy. But yeah, nice little shelf piece. Would be nice. So it's definitely one I've got my eyes on for a little bit cheaper one day. But see,
yeah, nice. That's cool. That's that's I think a great way for people to get into the Warriors stuff. I think we talked about it before. If there was a Xenoblade one, that might be enough for me to get really interested and try it out.
Perfect.
So, I'd love to dabble into that, and I think the format could work well with that as well. And so this is a really cool unexpected one when it came out in 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. What's another game you'd like to pick out?
Ooh, I like this year because it had all the sequels to the sequels, so it was all threes, and so we had Xenoblade Chronicles 3, we had Splatoon 3, Bayonetta 3, and then Triangle Strategy's got so 3 in the name there. Bayonetta 3, I got into my Bayonetta kick this year because I wanted to play the first two before the third game came out, and so I always loved the fact that I went into an EB Games to buy. I saw Bayonetta 1 for Switch. Had the game card in it, and then I opened up the case, and the download code for the second game was still unused within the case, and so there was a bonus for me. So I was able to get effectively what a brand new game gets you for like the pre-owned price with the download code. So that was a bonus. I had a great time in 2022 playing those Bayonetta games and leading up to 3. I think the second one's my favorite. I love how extremely crazy that game gets. The opening scenes, the levels and that's absolutely unreal. And then 3 comes out, and I really enjoy it. I think it's a great, solid game. I just don't think it quite lived up to what I wanted. Well, compared to 2 anyway, just that freneticness just wasn't quite there for me. And then the extra roaming around you do, it just didn't click with me as well. It's still a very good game. But just for me, two's the definitive one, I feel, in the series. So, have you played these much at all, Drew?
No, not really. I dabbled in 2 on Wii U. I dabbled in 1 on Switch.
Yep.
And I sort of fell off of them. Don't know if that's related to my opinion on the game necessarily, but I don't know. I fell off of them.
I'd come from never having played Devil May Cry or anything like that, but I enjoyed this, and that makes me think that a Warriors game's not too dissimilar to it. That I'd probably enjoy those if I ever did decide to give them a go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of like DMC, so like this is like kind of right up my alley. But I fell off of it, and I actually YouTubed the story of Bayonetta for like 1 and 2. I'm like, that's actually a really cool story. What happens in the games is really cool. I'm like, okay, maybe, I wanted to jump back into it just to flesh that out a little bit more. Great.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, so I'm like, cool, man. So I mean, I got a bit of a backlog. There was like a bit here where I was dropping like a couple more games, and going into 2023, that's where like I started wanting to do my game challenge to try and beat more games. So there's like a couple of things that slipped through my fingers in like, I guess like the post-COVID era after a couple of years. Like I played like the main things that always grab my attention. But yeah, like stuff like Bayonetta, I'm like, I wish I got to it. But there's always time, Josh. You know, the
There's always
backlog,
time.
keep filling it up, mate. There's no limit to that bad boy. She'll keep
Correct.
expanding. So
Sure.
yeah. What else we got here? We got Mario Strikers Battle League. This was by far the biggest disappointment of the year. Yeah, this game sucks. When it got announced, I was so excited. I was so excited to play
You really
this.
were.
Because love Charged on the Wii. The GameCube version's fantastic as well. And this one kind of, I mean, everybody says like, oh look, the gameplay's there, but it's just bare bones. There's not much there. But honestly, the gameplay's not very good either. Like compared to the other ones, like the stadium, like the field's smaller. It doesn't feel as snappy. You feel like you can cheese it a lot easier. Don't know. Just all round not as good.
Okay.
The online features, like the whole thing, like making a club, that sounds great. But just the amount of options you have within it to make it, not very good. Like playing online, you can't do 4-player, you can only do 2-player. Like just stuff like that. It's just a misstep.
Yeah, it extremely bare bones, and I think I'm a bit more tolerant of the gameplay. I thought that was definitely the strength of it because there's nothing really else to it. Yeah, this is such a disappointment. I wanted this to be like a 40, 50 hour game for me, just playing online and like forming the clubs and going through those knockouts and having that really fun online experience. And this was just next level, having to dish this out by a certain time, really. And it felt very much an afterthought. And it continues the legacy of sports games just not quite living up to what they need to be on for Nintendo. So yeah, another disappointing one. This was like everybody want to Switch. Like that's a worse game, but I don't feel mad about that because I know that I'm not really going to enjoy that to begin with. Like, but yeah, I was the same with you. I love Charged on the Wii. That was like one of the greatest. Like, I like put so many hours into that, and I thought that was the bee's knees. And had been so long between drinks for the series, and to finally get one here, and then it kind of just fizzles pretty much straight away. The DLC was just skin covers. The stadiums don't do anything different. They just look different. A lot of aesthetic stuff was done, but nothing that really altered the gameplay or added a real challenge. If it was a certain home team stadium, that didn't exist in this, and so it was bit of a it was a massive miss for me, and I think one of the most disappointing games on the Switch, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Like as far as like me going into it, like I was so hyped, and I come out of it just wanting to wish it never existed. So that was that.
Yeah, it's a shame.
We got Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This is one of probably my favorite Kirby game. I think it might be a lot of people's favorite Kirby game too. Just first 3D outing, which is kind of crazy to think about. But HAL Laboratory did the fantastic job of this one. It felt so good to play, creative, fun, cozy. Like it really was a great game. And just as I was saying, cozy, I'm just thinking like about the final boss. Not so cozy, but that's just classic Kirby at this point, where it sort of ramps itself up to be quite a horrifying experience. But yeah, this game was fantastic, dude. I absolutely loved it. I thought like Car Kirby and the vending machine and all of that stuff. Like it became a meme that year as well. Everybody just loved seeing all the different items and that Kirby takes part of. So yeah, this was great. It was definitely
cool.
one of the highlights of the year.
Yeah, I love this game, and I am dumbfounded it took them this long to do the 3D route into 2022, but we finally got it. I love these mechanics. Very fun, open game, and all the things that Kirby could inhale and turn into extra bonus there. So I think a much needed new direction for the series with that game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have many words to say about Xenoblade Chronicles 3?
Yes. So I really like this game, and in terms of a trilogy, there is a really strong one. These 3 Xenoblade games, and I think the storytelling in this one's phenomenal, and the actual mechanics in this game are really well fleshed out, and there's just so much to it. Um, I just am very shameful to say that I'm 40 hours in and I haven't finished it, and I need to keep going to finish it off to see that story away, get it done, and then I've got DLC I can get into as well. It's yeah, I think for me it came at a stage where had played a lot of Xenoblade over those years, and they're massive games. I think the first two games I've poured at least 75 hours into and completed them. So three, I have like really enjoyed it. I think it's a better game than two. I just need to commit the time and get it done. And it's not going to happen this year, I don't think, because unless I really want to play some Xenoblade before X comes out.
Yeah. This is another series, and I'm like, I want to play it, but
the story is really interesting. I love the whole premise of it, and I just need to keep going.
I just remember too, like 2022. I'm like, oh yeah, my son was born that year. That's a big reason why some of these games slipped as well. I'm thinking about Bayonetta. Like, why did I drop off Bayonetta? Oh yeah, I became a dad. That
would do it.
That might have changed a few things. Like, I'm going to talk a lot about Legends Arceus, and a lot of that experience was just smashing that game out before my son dropped onto the floor. So yeah, by the time Xenoblade Chronicles came out, I'm like, nah. Especially since I got to play the other two. But even if I jump straight into that one, it's like, it wasn't going to happen.
No.
But actually last year I did actually pick it up on a sale with the DLC. So the intention's there, Josh. The intention's there.
Yep.
Whether it happens or not, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about the Pokemon games. Because, these are probably the highlights for me just from the year. Massive Pokemon fan. So having like two like open area / open world Pokemon games in the 1 year. Pretty exciting idea. I think, obviously when we talk about Scarlet and Violet, it's just, wish they took a bit more time. That game obviously just needed more time. There's no ifs or buts about it. But Legends Arceus, coming out the start of the year, being a completely different format for Pokemon, being an open area, being able to throw Pokeballs, engage in sort of pre-battles. It's got sort of different battle mechanics where it's got agile style and forgot what style. Hard style, was it? Heavy style? I can't remember. But you got like a fast and a slow style, which, does more damage or it's faster. So different sort of strategies there. An interesting story that dives into the lore of the Sinnoh region, which is called Hisui at the time. And from like a Pokemon nerd perspective, I really like that aspect of it. But for me, I always I think about how people interacted with Hogwarts Legacy, where Hogwarts Legacy wasn't like the most amazing game in the world, but if you're a Harry Potter fan, you just love being at Hogwarts. You love being just engrossed in that world. And for me, that's what Legends Arceus is just being in the middle of a field and being a Pokemon trainer, exploring, catching Pokemon, interacting with the world, shiny hunting, finding rare stuff, alpha forms, all of that. It was just so much fun. And it also sort of ended with the hardest Pokemon battle in the series for me. It kicked my ass.
Mm-hmm.
And to beat it, I had to have like a very specific just run of luck. Everything right to be able to beat it. And that was great fun as well. Very, very cool ending to the game. And I spent many hours just exploring and catching Pokemon and how it's sort of, you complete your Pokedex. It's the very first Pokedex for the region. So you're collecting Pokemon, you've got to catch certain forms and catch a certain amount, and it fills out the individual sort of Pokedex entries for each Pokemon. Instead of just catching it and being like, oh, this Pokemon is this and that, and having it all automatically done for you, you're actually physically just building it out, which was satisfying and sort of clicked with like my grinding nature in Pokemon, where it is just in the wild, just catching Pokemon. It was great. I loved it. So Legends Arceus, one of my favorite games on Switch for sure. And it makes me, I'm looking forward to the next iteration of that sub-series.
Yeah.
And before I jump to Scarlet and Violet, sorry. Yeah, you can touch on it.
Yeah, it was just a really refreshing game. Came out just after the Pearl and Diamond remakes. And so we got littered, late 21 to all of 2022 with Pokemon games. And this was a really cool new direction in the series and open area. And I just love the turn back in time, just different setting. Explains the Pokemon lore a bit more, and you're out there in the wild. You can see the Pokemon from a distance. You creep up to it, throw it, and it was just fun. And yeah, like you said, you're stuck you're in that world, and if you really love it, you're just gonna like the world of Pokemon. You're just gonna have an absolute ball, and that's what it was. And I'm really excited to see what Legend ZA does with the formula this time, and no doubt they'll improve it a lot. And it'll be 3 and a bit years since it had come out. Jeez, 3 years since Arceus has come out. That's pretty crazy. So yeah, just a great breath of fresh air in what was probably getting a bit of a stale series at that stage.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, just like the simple act of throwing a Pokeball, it was cool. I remember when they first revealed that game, it looked like it was running at 5 frames a second.
Yep.
But just the idea of somebody like sneaking in through the grass and throwing a Pokeball was like, whoa. And so that was so much fun. So yeah, no, awesome. And Scarlet and Violet, we said what was being said about the quality of those games, the frustrating aspects, but I just want to touch on what was good about them and just the whole thing of like, I didn't see any of the new Pokemon before the games come out. So just exploring that world, discovering Pokemon, seeing something off in the distance, if it loads in, and just like, oh, what's that? And like the whole excitement of discovering something new and going to find it. And I feel like Scarlet and Violet does discovery really well for like the actual Pokemon. I think the actual region itself, it felt like a little bit samey. It didn't really have that much character, maybe compared to previous regions for me personally.
Yep.
It just felt like, it's got its snow biome, it's got its desert biome. It just felt like a little bit, I don't know, it lacked personality. And I think maybe that come from just a lack of art style for me personally, just what I prefer. And maybe the graphics as well. It just came off as a bit flat. That's just how, just lack of textures and things like that. Maybe that plays into a lot of it as well. But yeah, I mean, definitely not my favorite Pokemon games. But yeah, I had fun with them when I played through them. Like, they still introduced like a good amount of good things for the series. Just the whole paradox forms as well. How like you got ancient Pokemon, you got future Pokemon, and how the story ends up was kind of eye-opening for a Pokemon game. It's like, oh, a bit of something going on here, which was interesting. But it takes a little bit to get there. I think the open world aspect of that, much like the Zelda games of Breath of the Wild, it's fun to like just do things at your own pace, but also you've got like a beginning, then you got the middle, which you're just running around doing whatever, then you've got the end. And there's like there's no like real story being told to you. And I guess that's an aspect you've got to sort of give up at some point if you want an open world game like this.
Yes.
To some extent. And for me, I just want to be let go in the Pokemon world and catch stuff. So I'm happy to make that sacrifice because, what I hated most about Sun and Moon on 3DS was just like talk. It's just all story, and it's an interesting story, but gameplay-wise, it's just like clicking through a lot of pointless text.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah, so I'm happy that, Scarlet and Violet went this way. But what do you have to say about these Pokemon games?
Yeah, they're really fun. Yeah, they're fun games. I really enjoyed the loop of it, and being out in the open like it. And I think hitting the gyms in any order while the scaling doesn't happen was really cool. Exploring was one of the most key fun parts of the game, and I just wish it wasn't a buggy, sore mess to look at and play through because it could have been so much more. And you can definitely feel that this is like the most rushed feeling game ever, and they didn't really add anything to fix it. It was just get it done by this date because Pokemon games always come out 3 years after each other in November, and we felt it. And I hope, and it sounds like they've probably learnt their lesson. Sounds like there might not be one this year. Probably get Legend ZA is the only one this year instead. But it was fun, and I got through the main campaign caught a couple of legendaries and left it at that, and had about 45 hours of game time, which I think is one of the lowest for me in terms of a Pokemon game, and like getting my play hours through that. I was pretty done after that, and then the DLC didn't really interest me from the sounds of it anyway. So yeah, I really enjoyed what I did play of it. I just wish it had more and was better. Because I think, yeah, one of the biggest franchises in the world gets away with a lot. And these games definitely don't leave a lot to the imagination, that's for sure.
We'll just see if it's a wake-up call for Game Freak. Hopefully,
I hope so.
we haven't seen a project from them since. So hopefully they saw the outrage or
Yes.
the discussions at least. And they're like, all right, like I assume they have pride. So they probably will see the feedback and like, all right, we need to do better. Like hopefully that's just like,
Just need that extra
Yeah.
year or more,
yeah, not even being negative or rude or anything, but it's just like, yeah, just have a bit of pride.
Yep.
Like
I don't think
Nintendo and the Pokemon company,
Yeah,
like all,
I don't think
like all
Nintendo
of
were
the,
happy with it. So yeah, yep, some words would have been said.
yeah, I hope so. Like, yeah, Nintendo came out and apologized for it and just
Yeah.
never did anything about it. So,
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway,
Correct.
last up before we just wrap it up, just quickly, Nintendo Switch Sports. I liked it, didn't love it. It was fun for a little bit. As somebody who like really wanted Wii Sports on the Switch, there was just like a few sort of design choices that made me sort of not enjoy it. It's kind of like going back to the Animal Crossing thing. That's the tiniest thing to throw me off. Like
Yeah,
you're bowling on the Wii, you bowl, you hold down B. When you let go of B, you let go of the ball, and it's tactile. You can feel it. It's all a part of the whole immersion of actually throwing a bowling ball. But on Switch Sports, you press in the ZL or ZR or whatever hand you're using, and you don't actually let go of it. You just flick it. Like it doesn't feel like it doesn't have that.
Yeah,
It doesn't have that tactile
Did
feeling
so well
of
in
like
Wii
throwing a
Sports,
ball.
didn't they? Yeah,
So there was that. I really enjoyed the new soccer mode. Like I had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite new sport. I think like badminton and all that was fun too. Tennis. But yeah, it didn't have like, it didn't touch my nostalgia for Wii Sports as much as I would have liked. But yeah, I enjoyed it for when I was playing it anyway.
yeah. Unlike you, I wanted it as well. I think the sports they've done previously weren't done as well. I think soccer was probably a standout for me for the new ones. Badminton didn't really do it for me. We got golf way too late. And then basketball, the 3-point stuff, had been done before. So, it wasn't that different or fresh enough for me. So I did my few hours and that was about it. So yeah.
Yeah, nice. All right, 2022, where do we put it? I think on our list. So we both got an individual list here, and I can see that we've both got it at the same place.
Number
So
5.
do we put it at number 5 above 2020?
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
above 2020.
2020. Yeah, because when I said 2020, I was about to say something like 2021 or 2 or whatever. It's just, I can't believe 2020 is that far away.
So
We're in
it's so far away.
2025. What the hell?
Yep. So we'll put it between 2018 and 2020. It's 2022.
Yep.
Yep. And I'm happy with that.
Cool. I'm happy with that as well. All right, before you move on to 2023, let's bring in Sam Hay into the house of Mario. He says, a massive congratulations on the 300th episode, Drew. What a journey you have been on. I still remember the first episode I listened to, episode 25, a Wario fan fiction, after asking for podcast recommendations on a NVC forum. It was a wild one, but I enjoyed and have listened to every episode since, except for one, which I am waiting to beat once I beat Tears of the Kingdom. He's referring to our spoiler cast for Tears of the Kingdom. It's funny how certain things in my life will trigger apart from random shows, even feeling a bit nostalgic. Nothing will beat 2017 for me. Breath of the Wild on launch day. My wife, fiance at the time, drove into Albury for me 70 kilometers to pick up my pre-order, coming home and still playing till 5 a.m. in the morning. The Switch was my first day one console purchase. Same year, we got Mario plus Rabbids, and all those rumors, it was real, and still one of my favorite games. Then Mario Odyssey and the Peach's Castle level still blows my mind to this day, with Super Mario 64 being one of my first games. It was amazing to see what they did. His top favorite games are Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Fire Emblem Three Houses, New Pokemon Snap, and Octopath Traveler. The podcast has helped me through some tough days at work and some tough days in life. I'm a little bit older than you. We seem to have experienced a similar gaming journeys growing up and now living out in a small country town. I've been able to connect with them. It's been great watching you grow, Drew. From taking the show on singularly, doing YouTube, always trying to improve your podcasting and trying new things to improve your brand. It's been great sharing your life experiences with us, from getting married to now having two lovely children, as I felt I've been able to experience that with you, as I've been doing the same, and understand how your gaming habit change, and that sometimes after a big day, gaming is the last thing you want to do. Another shout out to Bryce. You are such an important part of the show, and I do miss hearing your voice. Hopefully Drew can get you on for a special Switch 2 episode. Would love to hear your thoughts on the new console. Josh, while you have your own amazing show, it's been fantastic having you join forces with Drew. I believe your shared passion for gaming creates a winning combination for Thom, and our shared love for the Adelaide Crows is just the icing on the cake. Up the crom. You should be very happy with the community you've created, Drew. Everyone, this is a great Discord group. I always enjoy reading everybody's posts, whether it's the games or just life in general. There's a lot of hate and toxicity on the internet, and this place is always great to chat, and no one ever makes you feel bad or like your views aren't valid. Now bring on another 300 episodes and the Switch 2. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sam. And, I always let you know this, but appreciate you so much. Appreciate your support. Like you said, you've been here for a very long time. And I find it funny that you jump on during our WarioWare fan fiction, where it got very crude very quickly. We just read a random fan fiction, and as you click from page 1 to page 2 to page 3, or however deep we went, it gets pretty graphic.
Yep.
And Bryce and I found that hilarious, and I still do. So it's actually kind of funny because on podcast services, it caps you out at 300 episodes. Like, you can't go back any further. And since we've done bonus episodes and all this, you actually can't go back to that one. You've got to go and check it out on YouTube if anybody wants to go back and listen to that abomination.
There you go. Didn't know that. Yeah. Do check it out. But Sam, that's very, very nice words. And Sam's been so supportive to your community, Drew, but also welcoming to me when I joined. And he sent me some amazing amiibo when I talked about some ones I'd love to get one day. He sent me a Metroid and the Samus Aran ones from the 2017 release of Samus, Metroid Samus Returns on 3DS, and gave me the most wonderful handwritten notes. It was very touching, and so just a wonderful person. Thank you, Sam, and thanks for supporting the show and always connecting with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely, man. Absolute legend. So I'm glad I can bring you that WarioWare fiction. Isn't that funny? I don't know. I just find that funny that
you could always bring it back.
Yeah,
make it a Patreon thing.
Patreon thing. Yeah.
the feet and the fanfic. That's what we can do, Drew.
Oh, a feet fanfic. There we go. Bam. Yeah. We'll get we'll get an audience of we'll have like a normal audience, then we'll have like the other people. Oh dear.
Correct.
Very funny. All right, let's jump into 2023, and this is a recent year. It was a good year, Josh. So from Nintendo, we had Advance Wars, 1+2, Reboot Camp, Bayonetta Origins, Everybody 1-2 Switch, F-Zero 99, Fire Emblem Engage, Fitness Boxing, Kirby's Return to Dreamland, Detective Pikachu, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Metroid Prime, Pikmin 4, Super Mario RPG, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, WarioWare Move It, Xenoblade Chronicles, Future Redeemed. And that's Nintendo. So, shit, man. Not
Unreal
too bad.
year.
Where do we
Unreal
start
year.
here, man?
We can start with the big one, or we can work our way up. What do you think?
Let's start with Tears of the Kingdom, dude.
Yep.
Let's do it. This was the game we were all waiting for. Sequel to, like I said at the start of the show, I think this was the most important Nintendo game. And man, it delivered on all fronts. I was just enamored by this game. It's this might be my favorite game of all time. This is my number one favorite game on Switch.
Yep.
I loved it. Everything from just exploration to the story that it told. It dropped my it dropped my pants. It was that exciting though. It dropped my jaw. It's getting a little bit late. I'm sort of stuttering through my words, but yeah, it was just amazing. I loved it. Just how it all wrapped up. It was just absolutely phenomenal what they built upon from Breath of the Wild. Just extraordinary. Josh, what do you think?
Oh, this was the sequel. They had to deliver, and they surpassed everything about Breath of the Wild, in my opinion. I feel like I played Breath of the Wild but didn't get it, and it's fine. I didn't really enjoy it, but I played Tears of the Kingdom. I totally get this game. I totally love it. I feel there's a lot more to do in this game. You weren't as bored, but it was still great to explore and go around. They just really nailed the whole Zonai, constructing everything to get you around, and the depths. What a great way to sort of add extra, to what a map, to a map that you already know and are familiar with. Here's like an extra area that you really don't know and is completely different, and that on top of the sky with all the islands in the air as well, just really made it feel like it's not really exactly the same game like for like in that way. And so absolutely phenomenal. They build a little bit more on the story compared to the first one. There's a real big twist. You can maybe work that one out earlier depending how you go about it. And then the ending is one of the coolest boss battle endings, I think, in gaming. It's pretty iconic how that game finishes. And there are so many cool moments I've seen online of people playing around with the rockets, doing all these incredible designs and builds. You can really have fun with this game if you get enough of the Zonai. Mind the things you need and really go to town. And so I had an absolute pleasure, absolutely just, playing everything I wanted to do in this game. It was like 150 hours I poured into this. I got my time out of it. It got to the stage where I was trying to do everything I wanted to do before doing the final battle, because I knew once I did the final battle, I'd feel like I'd be done and I wouldn't want to go back. And so did like a bit of a parade, farewell tour around everywhere. And then I just got to the stage where, you know what? I've collected enough Karoks. You know what? I've done enough side missions. I'm done. I'm ready to finish this. And was able to cap it off. And so, it's my second favorite game after Odyssey, I think. It's a phenomenal game, and came at a great time for the Switch. Still showed that, this console has got a lot to give still.
Yeah, I think like in 2023, like I mentioned earlier on, a lot of Switch Pro talk obviously never come, but this was a game that sort of showed people like the amount of physics and just engines and everything playing in this game, and it's running on this old tablet at the time, and everyone's just like, holy shit. Like it really does show like the amount of programming prowess that's at Nintendo and how they're able to optimize their games for
it's the most technically
real old
impressive
hardware
Nintendo game out there. Just, with the physics just alone, just the way they've constructed this game is an absolute marvel. Yeah,
definitely. So one of my favorite games of all time, if not my favorite. I really don't know, but my favorite Switch game, and Obviously that plays off of Breath of the Wild. I can sort of bundle them together in some ways and put them at the top. But with Breath of the Wild, I always felt like, I don't know if Breath of the Wild was my favorite Zelda game, because it was kind of like the more traditional stuff. Twilight Princess would be my favorite, just because like the dungeons, the bosses, and it was also my first Zelda game. So I have that one in high regard. And in my eyes, they're both different pillars of Zelda. So they'll kind of just beside each other. But with Tears of the Kingdom, I'm like, oh, it's easy. Like Tears of the Kingdom is my favorite Zelda game. So there's like no question. Just because I think Tears of the Kingdom brought some more of those elements back a little bit, even though the dungeons, they're not really traditional Zelda dungeons, but just by looking at them, they sort of seem more like it. They capture more of the atmosphere type of thing. Like there's no item or anything. Obviously, that's not how the format of that game works. But it definitely captured more of that, and going like the whole sort of journey to the dungeons, whether it's in the sky or underground or whatever, that was captured a lot more, similar to previous Zelda games. Felt like a big mission you're going on, which Breath of the Wild, I felt like the Divine Beasts were pretty underwhelming, and by the time you did the fourth one, you're like, oh yeah, well, doing this again.
Yep, I get you.
So yeah, wonderful game. Josh, you pick the next one.
Ooh, I think 2023, for me, outside of Tears of the Kingdom, it was Pikmin 4. And this was talked about for years. Like as early as 2015, Miyamoto talks about, we're working on Pikmin 4. And you just don't hear anything really for all those years until 2023, where we get the, or like 22 maybe it was, where it was saying it was coming the next year. 10 years since Pikmin 3 on the Wii U, so like a massive gap. The series just, outside of the first two games, we've had a couple of massive gaps between the entries. And for something that Nintendo sort of touts a little, as one of the, Pikmin get marketed everywhere. They're very marketable. The little mascots promoting what Nintendo is. Their mainline games are few and far between, but it was probably worth the wait, because this was such a well-polished package of a game that, while it retconned the first game a little, kind of resets it a bit, the story and how it works. The inclusions in this game from Ochi, where you get to ride on him. He's like a big super Pikmin in a way, the things he can do, because he's able to carry a lot of things. He can drag things. He's a good old boy, and I love him a lot, little Ochi. We got the new Glow Pikmin, and we got the Ice Pikmin as well. So we got some really great inclusions for like extra gameplay features, because we got what happens after dark, and all the monsters come out to play, and we get the Glow Pikmin now. When it's absolutely frenzied out there, all the monsters go crazy. Just introduced a new sort of way to experience Pikmin, and so much more to this game. They do the extra Olimar missions as well. That's another 15 hours of gameplay, maybe, depending how you play your Pikmin. This is so well-rounded and solid, and extra challenges as well. The Danduri battles are very fun. It's such a well-polished package of a game, and it's my favorite one. I just really really love this game. It just I have a slight shame it came out so close to Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know if that really helped it or hindered it. At least Everybody 1-2 Switch came out straight after, so it's not like it definitely bounce up instead of a bounce down, if you get what I mean, because that was in between. Just those two games alone made 2023 for me.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, Pikmin 4 is one I missed. I kind of wanted to play the other Pikmins first, because I haven't played them either, but I should just jump straight into 4. That should be a bit of a fill-in game for maybe next couple of years. Maybe I'll fill it in. I have been thinking about it. Like there's a lot of these games that I'm really keen to play when I get my Switch Lite OLED set up. Just like a bunch of these colourful games. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that. But yeah, I need to get to it definitely. Man, oh well, I'll get to it one day, Josh. I'm sorry.
No, you're all good.
I did play Metroid Prime Remastered though. I played that.
Oh, yeah.
I made you happy. This first time I played through Metroid Prime.
Yes.
and I got to see what all the hype was about, and I'm quite impressed by how intricate it's all designed. Just thinking that this is a GameCube game that brought the series to 3D for the first time from an unproven studio at the time that's not based in Japan, Retro Studios in Texas. It was just very impressive. Like going back to all these years later, it holds up so well. Just with the gameplay and just hopefully hype everybody up for Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
But,
Yep.
yeah, no, just absolutely fantastic.
Definitive way to play it. Dual stick controls. It looks beautiful. The upscaling and HDifying of that game is unreal, and that's all it needed because it's a classic, amazing game on its own when it came out, and it still is today. But this is definitely the best way to play it, and yeah, super pleased this came out. I want the second and third games. I'm still so surprised we haven't got them yet. Maybe next month in this rumored Nintendo OG Direct for Switch 1 we're going to get. Maybe we get it then, because I feel that's the last chance before Prime 4 Beyond later this year.
Fingers crossed. They're not leaving us with much time though. But
no, that's the only thing.
Yeah, because I don't know if I've got it in me to like smash out 2 Prime games and play a brand new one. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's,
don't know if
that's
I've got
why
that
one
much.
last year would have been good during Echoes, and then Corruption maybe next month. But yep, anyway.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah,
Mental
correct.
bandwidth.
Yeah.
Also, I want to shout out Bayonetta Origins as well. This is one of my top 10 favorite games for this year. Like I said, I hadn't played 1, 2, or 3, but I went back to Origins, which was a completely different game, sort of an isometric game. You're playing as Bayonetta as a child. She's stuck in, I guess, the wacky forest. I forgot what the forest was called. But it's like a storybook, bit of a puzzle game. You're controlling Bayonetta with one stick and Escher with the other stick. You're moving them around. You can use them in combat, puzzles, all that. It's just like a really nice looking game. Storytelling was interesting. It was interesting how the story wrapped up as well. I was really enjoying it the whole time, the 15-hour runtime. And I guess by default, one of my favorite Bayonetta games. Just from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely loved it. I hope more people decide to pick it up because, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I wish I enjoyed it as much as you. You wanted to and just didn't quite click with me. And beautiful storytelling of that game. And yeah, I just it was such a weird experience for me because Bayonetta is so vulgar and sexualized, and this is the complete opposite of it as a fairy tale. And it was a little weird, the worlds colliding in that way, knowing what the series mainline is anyway.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get it. Yeah, if it doesn't click for you, but yeah, for some reason it clicked for me. I quite like those puzzle games with good story. So it worked out well.
For sure.
What's another one for you?
For this year, Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Of course.
Yeah, loved this. This came out in October that year. We got a lot of games close near the end of the year, and this was definitely the standout. Nintendo finally realizing if they're going to do 2D again, they need to really change it up and make it wonderful. And that's definitely part of the mechanics here. My brother Tom, he's in Japan at the moment. He just sent me an image of this game. He's bought Wonder in Japan, so
cool.
He was really keen to play it. I remember he's borrowed a lot of the Mario games from me and has enjoyed 3D World. Enjoyed Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe a lot, and so I was kind of surprised he hadn't played this one yet, but he's got it now. This whole mechanic with the Wonder Seeds and how the levels transform is just so brilliant and opens up the whole world a lot more. You get, that familiarity of the new Super Mario Bros. Series isn't there anymore. Mario is a bit more stylized and cartoonish, more emotive. It's really quite an upgrade comparing that series to this one here. And I really love this game. You can do co-op, so I did a lot of it with Michaela. I want to go back to it and play it again and and I've finished it, but there's like other levels to do and complete that I need to do.
Yeah, I love this game. It was my second favorite game, like in 2023.
Yep.
I 100% of the game in the first week.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
just absolutely adored my time with it. And yeah,
Yep.
like I said, I think I mentioned at the start of the show, it was honestly a kick out whether it was this game or Odyssey on my top five. I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
Just everything from how just much joy and color is in the game. Everything's beautifully animated. The levels are great. I love the badge system, being able to change your move set and all of that in the game. Really great. One of the hardest Mario levels at the end too. Kicked my
Yes.
ass. Absolutely
Yep.
kicked my ass. Just for how long it was. So yeah, no, fantastic. I'm looking forward to jumping into this with Lucas and Layla when they're old enough to want to play. Lucas is a big Mario fan, thanks to the Mario movie. So this feels like just a perfect game to jump into because we can't interact with one another. We can't muck each other up. I like that compared to the new Super Mario Brothers. That kind of, I couldn't think of anything worse than just like bumping on each other and that when you're trying to play the game.
Mm. Yeah, it was a bit like that. There were definitely times when it definitely a lot of bumping and knocking over and falling off.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's WarioWare Move It, and this was really exciting for me since I'm such a big fan of Smooth Moves on Wii, and this is basically Smooth Moves 2, even to the point where in Japan this game's called WarioWare Super Smooth Moves. I kind of wish it was called that here. That would just
That would
be
have been a good name.
that would have
Yep.
been wicked. Just play right off what I'm nostalgic about. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, it's Smooth Moves 2. It's not it will never live up to the nostalgia I have for that Wii title. Just
Mm.
playing it, trying to beat high scores back and forward with the Wiimote with Bryce, just in his bedroom and all of that. We've got such nostalgia for that, but it was nice to have that motion-based gameplay on the Switch because we've only had a few titles that really do that, sort of like with Switch Sports and Move It and 1-2 Switch. Like it's a very limited amount of games, but really utilize the Joy-Con
Really
to
lean into it. Yeah.
the full potential. So yeah, I loved it, and I should go back and play it again.
Yeah.
Going through all these games, I'm like, oh, I should play that. I missed that actually.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. Just going through all these games, like, oh yeah, that was great. That was really good. Oh, that was unreal as well. So it's just like, yeah, there's some unreal games here.
Yeah, no, definitely. We got other ones like Mario RPG Remake. That was the first time I played through that.
Yes,
I
same
liked
for
it.
me.
I didn't love
Yeah.
it. Like, yeah, it was fine.
I enjoyed it. Solid enough. Like appreciated the history and being able to experience this now, and thankful that Square and Nintendo made this game that we could get this remake. Yeah, I think Mallow's better than Gino. I think all the Gino lovers, Gino's a little overhyped, and Mallow's where it's at. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got to admit, playing through it, like all of the hubba just with Gino, like, oh, put Gino in Smash Bros. After playing, I'm like, yeah, well, Gino, he's cool, but I don't know if he was that cool to like real. You know what I mean?
Like he's not that cool.
He's like he's fine, but like
Yeah.
the amount of fanfare behind him was like, a bit crazy. But
I didn't quite get it. Yeah.
no,
Yep.
it was fun though. It was cool.
Yeah, it's still a great game. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. I freaking poured so many hours into this game. I loved this game. I was so off-put though when they first announced it because I thought it looked so basic and boring and mundane. The graphics and the UI and all of that, and I think they fixed it a little, but the gameplay is where it's really at, and such a great game. So unlucky this game got delayed twice.
That's right. Yeah.
Gets delayed. It was meant to be early 22, wasn't it? And then the war in Ukraine happens, and so that gets delayed for another year or so because it meant to be late 21 at that stage, I think, something like that beforehand. And so, yeah, very very unlucky. And I don't think it did very well. This is out a month before Tears of the Kingdom, and so glad they finally got it out there to play it. You get the first two Game Boy Advance games bundled together, and it's a really great time. And if you love those sort of grid-based strategy games, definitely a great one to get. EB Games had that for $5 tonight, didn't they, in that sale? So I think it was one of the
Yeah, it was very cheap. Whether you could get it or not,
definitely worth that.
yeah. Like
Yeah,
I
probably not
ended up getting nothing because there was only like a few things, and we were podcasting while we were doing it, so
Hard. Yeah.
didn't get anything. Josh, would you have got anything, Josh?
I had a look, and no, not really, not from that sale.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Yep.
I don't want to deprive you of a good deal.
Thank you. I would have found a way. Don't worry.
Yeah. God forbid you just said, "Hey, look, I'll do it." You rant for a bit. I think the last game I want to touch on is just Kirby Return to Dreamland, which was a remake of a game from the Wii. I enjoyed it. It was Kirby. It was fun going through it for the first time, and the sort of the expansion that they added on to this version, where you play as like the other character. I don't want to go into it too much because it's actually kind of spoilers for the end of the game. But yeah, that was fun. It was interesting. I forgot the main mechanic now. I think the character you're playing is like you're powering him up as you're going through the game, and once you finish that expansion, you're at his max power, which was interesting. Sort of gradually building up the power as you're going along. So that was fun. But yeah, it's Kirby. I had fun with it when I played it. So yeah, all right. 2023. We didn't touch on Engage because I didn't play much Engage. I don't know where you are on that one.
It was all right. I just, compared to Three Houses, just didn't quite hit for me. A lot of throwbacks to other characters, and so like some of them I knew, a lot of those I didn't. I haven't played a lot of the 3DS entries, and some of the old ones I didn't know. If you really are a massive fan of Fire Emblem, that would be a good one for you. Detective Pikachu Returns.
That's right.
I have a soft spot for this. I know it's not a good game. I really enjoyed the story of this in the end. It's very basic. It's more of a kiddie game compared to a lot of the other Nintendo games. But yeah, I find Detective Pikachu and his scruffiness very cute and funny, and it made for some very good moments and concluded the story that gets set up in the first one. So yeah, I enjoyed that one more than I probably should have.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I remember watching you play it at PAX, and I went, no.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
All right, 2023 on our list. I think we agree on this one too, Josh.
Yeah, number one.
This one goes at number one. Top. And it's kind of hard. Like, does it beat 2017? I think game releases. Yes, definitely does. Like Tears of the Kingdom. You got Mario. Like the other games too.
We got all big IPs this year. We got your Zelda game. You got your Mario game. You got your Metroid, Pikmin. There's even Pokemon, Kirby, Fire Emblem. Like it's WarioWare. Like it was just it's so spread out. We got into like Advance Wars as well. Like it was so much variety for this year. And for me that's what makes it number one. Yeah,
definitely. Like Tears of the Kingdom alone, like that puts it.
Yeah, well, that's
just
right.
Smashes it right up there. Let alone all this other stuff is fantastic too. And Mario Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom, like some of my favorite games on the system. So yeah, definitely. And it wasn't always like this. Like I was always like, I'm pretty sure 2017 is, and maybe for the excitement and the feel for the year, especially with the launch of the actual system. Maybe you could put it above there just for the whole excitement of a new era of Nintendo. But at the same time, these games, dude, just look at them. They're good.
They're very good. They're very good indeed.
Very good. All right, Josh, here we are finally. 2024. We just experienced this year. And it wasn't too bad. We thought we would have a Switch 2.
Yes.
But, we didn't. So...
No.
But instead, we had another code, Recollection, Endless Ocean Luminous, Fitness Boxing, featuring Hatsune Miku, which I just saw in the eShop. I'm like, I didn't even know they released that. I'm like, I'm a big Hatsune Miku fan. I quite like those games. I like the rhythm games. Yep. So I saw it on sale for $53. I'm like, still too expensive. We got Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Paper Mario, The 1,000-Year Door, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet got the Hidden Treasure in the Area Zero, Princess Peach Showtime, Splatoon 3 Side Order. We've got plenty more games that aren't on that list. We've got MEO. We've got The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. We got NES Championship Edition. We've got Mario and Luigi, Brothership, and Super Mario Party Jamboree. So, this is obviously the year that's on the tip of our tongue just from last year. And we had plenty to play, nothing like crazy, coming off a year with Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Wonder. But we had plenty to do and pretty much a game a month to play. And we even a big surprise with Echoes of Wisdom being able to play as Zelda as the first time. We had fun with Endless Ocean Luminous. One of the best Nintendo games of all time, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door gets a remake, bringing Paper Mario back to the RPG systems that people really enjoy. People like Luke, who love another code, just completely surprising us with remakes of very niche DS and Wii games. Brand new Goodfield game, Princess Peach getting a second game in forever. A lot of good stuff there. So where would you like to start first?
This was, I think it's one of the most mid years ever in terms of like no highs and real lows. I just thought I really enjoyed the releases. I thought they're all solid enough. I just, Nintendo World Championships could have been a really great game. Had a few flaws with the online leaderboards, ongoing. I really loved that game, but just ongoing just didn't do it enough for me. So I'd love to, would have loved to have played more with that. Being able to play Thousand Year Door properly for the first time was really cool and great. I get the hype now when it comes to that series. Properly going into that and understanding the mechanics of the turn base was really great. I just got to experience new things this year, like another code. Didn't really know anything about this series until it got announced at the Direct the year prior. We had Luke and Eggman in the Discord really talking about this game, pumping it up, and so they really helped pique my interest. And I thought, I really want to play this. Got a code from Nintendo, was able to sort of go through it, and I really enjoyed it, and so much so that I wanted to get a physical, so I got a physical version of that game given to me from Michaela. I really liked it, and just a beautiful, beautiful game. You got the first game on DS and then the Wii sequel bundled together. I love everything about the game, even the Lake Juliet gift store tune that still gets stuck in my head, even though I have not played it for ages. I definitely know how that goes. Just great variety here in terms of different games. They're all small and didn't hit hard, and I talked to a lot of friends who have their Switches now, and they didn't play a lot this last year. For those who really wanted to try new things on the Switch, there were things at least for you to try.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a few games that I still got to get to. Still got to get to Mario and Luigi. I sort of get back to Echoes of Wisdom.
Yep.
Just coming out later in the year. Just work commitments and things. I sort of fell off of them. But early in the year, I really did enjoy myself on Switch, and I played a lot more Switch in 2024 than I thought. So, and that's because of just these games. They hooked me more than I originally thought. Before looking at my end of year stats, but stuff like Endless Ocean, that was good fun while it lasted. I think we were in a unique, privileged position where we were provided codes by Nintendo, so it removed that barrier of entry where we could just play it. We had fun, but it's a hard recommendation for other people to go and put down the money and play, because we played for a week. We played maybe 10 hours, and a lot of that was together, and we had a lot of fun doing it. But there were a lot of sort of problems with that game, like the story mode just being the objectives to actually progress the story was way too high. What that game asked from you as far as a commitment to time was just too much. But multiplayer, just discovering just new creatures and all of that was a lot of fun for 10 hours that we played it. But Princess Peach Showtime for me was a disappointment. Just from first seeing that game, Princess Peach, cool, she's got a brand new game, I'm looking forward to it, but I feel it was very much made for kids, and that's not a bad thing, but I think when it comes to Nintendo games, we're just expecting a little bit more when it comes to maybe how these games are designed and a little bit more
Yeah.
all ages. But
I fell off a bit with that one
yeah,
more than I wanted to. I think I enjoyed it at first, but then just realized okay, it's just a bit more of the same, and didn't continue on.
yeah, no, definitely, yeah. I had to really force myself to play it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna beat it.
Come on, do it. Yeah,
Yeah. But let's talk about Emio, I guess. This is the one that I think this is our highlight from the year what we really enjoyed. Like a new unique game, Famicom Detective Club coming back in a brand new title for the first time in decades. And we both really enjoyed this game. I think the story was it's a slow burn, but once it finished, it was crazy. Just with what happens. So yeah, I think it's a recommendation to most Switch owners, and a lot of people wouldn't have experienced it before.
yeah, that's right. It was unexpected. Firstly, I apologize because I feel like I've talked about this game so much in the last 6 months on this show. But my game of the year last year on the Switch at least, and like the whole build up with the tease reveal, we're getting a horror game, and I think a lot of people got disappointed. But we got a new Famicom Detective Club game instead. But that really interested me. I think the story and the premise of the paper bags going over the people who've been murdered, it was a really sort of interesting mystery there. And it's a visual novel, so it's not going to appeal to everyone. And it's revising a very old series, built on a little from the 2021 remakes of the first two games, but to get a whole brand new one was such a cool experience. And I went into this just like, I'll give it a go and just see what it's like. And it just kind of gripped me more. And like you said, it's a little bit of a slow burn, but you just get enough information that it does a great job at sort of reinforcing the details of the case. I never felt lost or like I missed something. Like they do a great job at like explaining what goes on. You can refer to a notebook to work out your case notes and who said what and details and profiles of the actual people you've talked to. And yeah, once you work out how the game works and how you need to progress in certain ways, it does become a lot easier. And they've improved it on the first game for sure. There was one stage, I don't know, for those who've played it, I was at a bus stop for way longer than I thought I needed to be. That's quite funny. I think anyone who's played it definitely knows the moment. And you got to go through a lot of things, but you get there in the end. There's an old man towards the end, and I had a similar thing as well, where you're going through a lot of buttons and things, trying to work out what do I need to do to progress this moment. But yeah, very, very captivating, riveting, and then it is. You get to the end, and then that epilogue at the end makes you question everything that Nintendo thought they stood for and believed in, because they go dark and gruesome, and I love it for them because you never expect it from those people, and when it does happen, it makes it even better. I think so. So good. I got a code from Nintendo to talk about on my show and obviously on this show as well, but. I bought it physically the other day, and I just wanted to own it, and so physically anyway. And so makes me very happy. I own this now. I can have it in my collection. Very, very happy to have it. Highlight game for me, and especially makes it better when I wasn't expecting it to be that game in particular.
Yeah, no, it surprised us, didn't it? And after playing it, like you mentioned, I just snatched the Switch away from my young one, but like, no, Nintendo's evil. I didn't realise they were capable of this awful content.
You question everything.
Yeah, Miyamoto, he's just sicko, I know he had nothing to do with the game,
sick
but
fuck.
yeah, he's sick, twisted bastard. Doug Bowser, you're crazy, mate. Everybody in that building, everyone from the localization to... So what? Oh, you're sick, mate. No, great game.
Great game, and I want to see more now. They did such a great job, and getting Sakamoto to work on this, it was a bit of a passion project for him. You got the Metro background, and I think I read something the other day. He was surprised he got the green light for this. Nintendo let him make this brand new entry in this very old series that hasn't had a lot of love. And I mean, I think the success of the Switch and Nintendo being such a healthy position at the moment warranted and allowed for this game to be made. And so, you talk about, Nintendo not being creative anymore through hardware, potentially. That's what some people might say with the Switch 2 announcement. For me, it means, if we get more people buying the console, we're going to get more games like this, where it's really different and unique, and that excites me. So I'm hoping stuff like this gets brought back, and we get to enjoy them on the Switch 2 going forward.
A couple of years ago, maybe they were looking at their output, like, oh, look, Switch 2 isn't going to be ready 2024, it's going to be 2025. We've got a whole year, we've got to fill with stuff. So maybe there was like a 2-week period where anybody goes in with their pictures and they just get it.
Yeah.
So it's like, he just got lucky. He went in with Famicom Detective Club. Like, yeah, just, we need to fill a month, mate. Just chuck it in, please. Same with like another code. It's like, what about if we remade these games? Like, yep, fine. Chuck it in.
Yep, we need something in early January. Yeah, that's right.
And it's like, an Endless Ocean game. So why not?
Give it a go. Correct. For me, that's what I enjoyed the most about 2024 was I discovered a lot of new franchises in Nintendo's catalog that I've never played before and got to experience for the first time and I really enjoyed them. So, that was a great thing about the Switch, and it's full last year. I don't know, we're going to get a lot of OG Switch by itself this year as well from the sounds of it. But this last full year as the main console.
Yeah, we'll have plenty more on Switch, but it'll also have a bigger brother that has brand new, bigger games, I would assume. But yeah, 2024, Josh. Last year, where do we rank it?
So for me, it's, below 2020, but above 2018. But we know 2018 is a bit higher. We've got 2020 last at the moment, don't we? So I don't think it's better than 2022. So it's either last or second to last against 2020.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I've got it on my list. I've got it at number 7, just above 2020.
Yeah, I'm happy to put it above 2020.
You happy with that?
And I think because purely 2020, I love that year in terms of the games, but I know that it was a lot of like stuff that had already come out, like the Xenoblade and this 3D All Stars and Pikmin 3 and Tokyo Mirage Session and Mystery Dungeon. Outside of that, there wasn't a lot of new stuff. So I think 2024 gets a bit of a prop because of that. Even though there were a lot of remakes still, we had a bit more variety maybe.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, I'm looking at Josh's list here. He's got 2018 at dead last on his personal list. That's crazy.
Yeah. We don't differ too much. I was working out that we've got a lot of things in the same spot, but then if we don't agree on a year, it's like maybe 1 or 2 at most, except for 2018. I think we've always known for a while that we view those years very differently. And then for me, it was just year 2018. I hate Star Allies. Aces wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. I despise Super Mario Party because it could have been so much better. And outside of that, we got some really great Wii U ports, but they're just ports. I mean, yeah. And then Smash Bros is, I really love. But yeah, just not as much as you.
Yeah, no, it's a sickness if you like it more than me. That's when it becomes a problem. It's like, Bob likes a beer, but you might like it a bit too much. That's maybe me with Smash Brothers.
Yes, yep, that makes sense.
All right, guys, we got our final ranking. So at number 8, we got 2020. At number 7, we got 2024. Number 6, we got 2022. Number 5, we got 2018. Number 4, 2021. Number 3, 2019. Number 2, 2017. The best year for Nintendo Switch was 2023. So, congratulations, 2023. You're the winner.
Well done. Excellent.
An amazing year, just phenomenal. What a lead up to that. And even 2020 at the very bottom, like you said, still a good list. Still a good list of games. Still a good time to be a Nintendo fan. And
Beats every other Wii U year.
yeah, easily. Yeah, not even close. Not even close. Yeah, that's right. Not even close. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. Man, Josh, this was a lot of fun to do with you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I appreciate how long we've been going for and how late it is. Yeah, and everybody that was listening, thank you very much for getting to this point of the
Thanks
podcast.
for getting here. Yeah, we've been here for a while now. It's 3.5 hours over now.
Is this the longest podcast you've ever recorded?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yep. The inauguration's in 2.5 hours. I could nearly stay up. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't watch it. No.
Yeah, see old Trumpy go into office again. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Watch a riot. I don't know. Anyway.
That'd be worth staying up till what 1:30 at night? Is that the time it is here?
No, 3 a.m. We've got another 2.5 hours.
Oh Jesus!
No, it's not going to happen.
Oh God, no. God. I mean, you got to be delirious to watch that to get through it, I guess.
It's a lot of boring stuff, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess just before we wrap things up, I just want to say a massive thank you to our audience here at the House of Mario. I really appreciate you deciding to spend your time with us and hear us talk about what we love about Nintendo and video games, all of that. The podcast, to me personally, is something that I take a lot of pride in. I've loved doing it over the past 8 years. And, it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows necessarily. Obviously, I lost my co-host Bryce and sort of the how I felt going out of like, what am I going to do? And I enjoyed doing it solo, but I eventually, got to the point where I was getting sort of over doing it solo, and I was feeling like I wasn't doing a very good job. I was letting people down, all of that type of thing. I was getting those sort of thoughts in my head, and it was one day I was thinking about like how I'm going to continue doing it, because there was a very real possibility I was just going to fall off, stop doing it. But I didn't want to. I wanted to keep doing it. I love doing it. But the easy option was to be like, oh, look, just give in to your insecurities, give in to what's easier, because like recording at nights, recording in general is hard with a young one and now 2 young ones. So the easy option would have been just to finish it up. But I really wanted to keep doing it, and I think especially the 300th episode was a goal I was going forward for a long time, and I was thinking about like, what do I want to do? How do I want to continue it? And I was at the playground. I was with my son Lucas. He was probably on a swing or something, and I was thinking to myself like, I was thinking about it for a while before this, obviously, but I was like, I want to see if Josh would join us on the show, because over the last couple of years since meeting Josh through podcasting, met him through him doing Nintendvania. It was, we've become close friends pretty fast, and thought like, he is the person I'd like to do it. There was some concerns I was thinking about, like just as far as like, I wanted him to get something different out of the House of Mario that he's not already doing on his own show, which is obviously focused on Nintendo. I didn't want to waste his time or anything like that. But after a bit of a phone call at the playground, Josh decided to join, and I'm just so thankful, Josh, of like the time each week and joining me, and it's been a blast, and it's helped me keep the podcast going and all of that, which I love doing, especially now we're getting to the time where it's paying off, where we are getting to like an exciting time, something to really get excited about with Switch 2 and talk about it like that. So I'm glad I didn't lose the show, and I'm glad that I've gained another way to be able to talk to you each week. And I just want to let people know that, how thankful I am for Josh for joining the show. It's been an honor doing it with you for the last year. It's been about a year, hasn't it? We worked that out.
I think Feb last year. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's gone quick, but yeah, man, I'm looking forward to doing this with you for many more years, and as the show evolves with you up, with the hands on the wheel and all of that. I don't know. It's been great so far. So yeah, thank you very much, Josh, for joining me and going on this ride with me.
Oh, like my absolute pleasure, Drew. It's been absolute honor to be on this show with you as a co-host. Felt very privileged when you asked me last year, and like I've enjoyed coming on here every Monday night, talking to you, geeking out, talking all things Nintendo, and just hanging out with my really good friend. And it's been we've gotten to 300. I think we were in the 260s, weren't we, when I first started? So I've done about 40 episodes or something like that with you. I'm pretty sure.
Something
Maybe
like that, yeah.
250 something it was.
We haven't worked it out, but
Can't remember now. But yeah, like every Monday, pretty much we've been here recording. House Mario was, what inspired me to want to do a show, a podcast. I remember listening to your show and really, really enjoying it. You and Bryce, and getting that Australian angle of all things Nintendo. It was just right up my alley, and I've grown up in the country as well, so kind of appreciated that isolation angle of it all. And you had your Nintendo games, but not a lot of people to play them with, or you had that one friend who really did, and I think we had very similar stories about how we experienced it. And so Drew, just really, congratulations on the 300. I really, love this show. Really excited what's to come this year with it, especially with the Switch 2 and what we're going to do and deliver on this show. But also just first and foremost, just appreciate the friendship I've made with you, and the bond we've, had for each other now for a few years. And so honored to call you a friend of mine. And you've been to my bucks, and you're going to be at my wedding next month. And so it's all we're not internet friends anymore. It's real. It's ingrained, and
we've touched each other. Yep, that's right.
Oh, he's good to touch. He's very, very firm. And I just appreciate everything about you, man. And so love you so much. Thank you for hanging out with me, being my mate. And here's to many more years of podcasting together.
Yeah, no, I look forward to it, dude, and it's gonna be good fun. I'm just thankful that I didn't lose this, because at PAX this year, like I met up with a bunch of friends I've met throughout the last 8 years since starting the House of Mario, and there's not many of us who are still doing it from that group. All those years ago, we all met just like a kind of funny event after we got to meet the guys when they came to Australia, and them being big podcasters, a lot of us sort of started then, and we sort of mingled and became friends that way. And that's how I met like a lot of my internet friends on Twitter and all that back then. And a lot of us we talk at PAX and stuff when we catch up, but yeah, like the House of Mario and Explosion Network. Who else is still going? Like there's not many of us still going, like Brendan and Benny and all of that sort of
no more,
sort of like dropped off along the way, just because of life happens, and life almost happened to me. So like I said, thankful that we keep the show going.
Definitely.
Yeah. And like I said just before, I thank Josh, the audience. Thank you so much. We've only got a small audience, so every single one of you I appreciate, and I love you very much. And I know all the podcasts I listen to, I never interact with the podcasters. I'm on the farm, I'm shearing a sheep, I'm doing my thing. I'm not in the comments, I'm not doing anything, but I very much appreciate the podcasts I listen to. So, I get it that much of you would be the same, but those of you in the Discord, whether you're meta who, when you started listening were like 14 years old, which is crazy. Now, like you're in your 20s, which really puts in perspective, or Luke or Sam, Zach, like, everybody there, like, really appreciate how long you've stuck around, and it means a lot to me. It really does. So, yeah. All right. Let's shut the door on this bad boy, Josh, unless you got anything else to say.
No, thank you to them as well. They've been so welcoming to me on the podcast as well. It's a really great community. Yeah. You mentioned it's small, but it's full of great passion and people who really love Nintendo, and awesome to be part of. If you if you've listened for a long time and haven't interacted, please feel free to join the Discord, and it's a really great time. So the more the better.
Yep, links in the show notes. But I don't know, Josh, grab a door. It's going to be hard to shut this one. Bit of a push.
We'll get it.
Yeah, we'll get it. All right. Everybody, thank you very much for listening to episode 300 of The House of Mario. But until next time, the doors are closed. Catch you later.